and we're going to talk about that, and it's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful, and of course got a lot of other things we're going to cover too, and I'm going to ask a very important question of the audience today about this show as well. So that'll be coming up as well. But I'm going to start with this, what the thumbnail is about, Trump saying that he's a political prisoner, because there's no doubt about it. And, I've been saying this for quite some time. Let me lift the camera up, guys. Just bear with me. All right. Here we go. It's one of those days. I tell you, what's going on in this country right now is oh so bad. It really, truly is. All right, here we go. 14 seconds.
There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, yes it is. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. It's Wednesday morning, June 5th, 2024. And of course, as always, we have a lot to cover. President Trump has released some videos, of which I'm going to play one of them and go through it a little bit here on the program early on. And got a whole bunch more to cover as well on the program. There's a lot has really happened. It's amazing to me how much news there is each and every day. It's really unheard of, the amount of news that is breaking each and every day. In fact, there's so much news, oftentimes you can't even get close to covering it all. So you got to pick what you think are the biggest and most important stories of the day and run with those. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to, after I go through this first open here, in the next segment, I'm going to ask you all a question about this program, and I'm going to ask you to call in and share your opinions on it. It's a very specific question. I'm not even going to hint to what it is, but it's something important about this program, and we'll get to that after the first break. But first, I want to talk about this. President Trump released a bunch of videos yesterday on his different platforms for the campaign. But this is the one I want to focus on first. Let me play this for you guys.
I am the political prisoner of a failing nation, but I will soon be free on November 5th, the most important day in the history of our country, and we will together make America great again. Thank you.
Yeah. This political prisoner, I've been telling you guys this for a long time. It's really starting to pick up all over the place now. President Trump putting this video out there is putting it front and center. That's what's going on here. That is what's going on here. Donald Trump is a political prisoner. He has done no wrong. He's broken no law. Everyone knows this. But the Democrats running this country are an angry mob. And, what has happened with the Democrats have always been dysfunctional, and they've always had these radical loons in their party. However, the radical loons didn't run the party. The radical loons were activists that turned out and held up signs and moaned and griped about things. But now those radical lunatics are in Congress. They're working in the White House. It's this de-evolution of civility among Democrats is not new. I mean, remember, the Democrats left the Union, rebelled, and formed an armed insurrection against the U.S. government, the Civil War, right? So Democrats have always been radical, but we had a long period where you could have civil discourse that we've lost now. And, the millennials and the Gen Zers that are surrounding all the Democrats in the Congress and at the White House and these government agencies are monsters. The participation trophy generation, if you disagree with them, you're all these isms, and none of them are good. And there was a moment yesterday with the most vile, disgusting, tyrant attorney general that I think this country has ever had, Merrick Garland. You know, Matt Gaetz asked him yesterday to show to the Congress, to the committee, all of the communications between the Attorney General, the Justice Department, and Letitia James's office, Fannie Willis' office, this Bragg's office, and all this stuff, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. You know, the J6 prisoners, many of which have been held without trial and have been denied proper counsel, have been denied their constitutional rights to a speedy trial and all of this stuff, that's a gulag. But Donald Trump's been in a gulag as well in that courtroom. And I know the conventional wisdom is, well, they're not going to send a president to jail. This Judge Merchan is insane. His daughter took the money, $100 million or more at this point. He's a monster. He's completely insane. And it's possible he doesn't sentence him to jail, but who knows? And I love these people. Well, the Secret Service won't allow it. Who the hell do you think the Secret Service are? The Secret Service are not some independent private security agency that President Trump has employed. The Secret Service, you know who the Secret Service work for? Well, of course, everyone in the government works for Biden. But do you know who they directly work for? The Secret Service? Do you know? Mayorkas. The Secret Service is under the Department of Homeland Security. They have torn down the barriers of our southern border and said, hey, give us your, it used to be give us your tired, give us your poor, give us your rapist. Give us your human traffickers, give us your murderers. And they've opened up the border to these people. One of them shot 2 cops in New York this week. All right? So, the Secret Service can only do so much. Mayorkas could have them stand down or replace all of them with a new detail. So I think a lot of people are living in this world of denial, and they're listening to some people that are doing shows like this, and they're filling their minds with a lot of garbage, okay? It is not a given that the judge does not send Trump to jail. He could send him to Rikers. He could put him under house arrest at Mar-a-Lago or Trump Tower or in New Jersey. Who knows? Or he could give him a suspended sentence. He could give him probation. Of course, all these things are possible, but don't be so confident. Don't be so confident. And you know what? Even if the Supreme Court, I'm going to think about this now. Say the Supreme Court steps in before the disgusting sentencing. Do you think the judge would recognize the Supreme Court? I don't think he would. I think if the Supreme Court came in this morning and said, you have no authority, presidential immunity, it's gone. I think that monster, Merchan, would still have his sentencing hearing. Trump wouldn't show up to it, because the Supreme Court would have said he doesn't have to, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't issue a bench warrant for his arrest, and there'd be a warrant for Trump's arrest. And these people are nuts. I mean, do you understand? There's so much at stake. There's a lot of egos with people like Comey. There's a lot of egos in the government that, presidents aren't really supposed to run things. But there's also $1 quadrillion worth of government monies that they're missing out on with Trump back in from their stealing. And I know $1 quadrillion is not a real number. It doesn't matter. The money that they steal from the Ukraine funding alone, forget about everything else that they do in the federal government, is an amount of money that is so large the human mind cannot even comprehend sums of money this large. All right? So Trump, he's going to end the war in Ukraine with Russia. He's going to end this nonsense with these Palestinian rapist terrorists. that are attacking Israel and raping their women and kidnapping their women. A couple more of the hostages were killed. Of course, old men, no one they can rape and have sex with like the women they're holding. Do you know how much money is going to be lost by these thieves in Washington that steal money every time we send money to the Middle East or to Ukraine? There's a lot on the line here. And they're not just going to say, oh, well, the Supreme Court, okay, moving along. They will not recognize the Supreme Court. That's why they spend so much time attacking Republican members. They were going after Thomas, oh, he takes bribes, nonsense and lies. Now they're going after Alito. Oh, he's got a flag up for the American Revolution. Oh, God forbid somebody honor the great American Revolution. So they're already, if you've noticed, working very hard to discount the Supreme Court of the United States. And I'll tell you this, if President Trump doesn't win re-election, I'm confident he will, but if he doesn't win re-election, Biden's going to appoint more people to the Supreme Court. He's going to start packing it. He's going to add members of the Supreme Court because they've tarnished in their minds. Clarence Thomas is unfit, Alito's unfit in their mind. So he'll start appointing people to the Supreme Court, packing it. And if we don't win, he'll do it. He will do it. This country is in a crisis because Democrats are animals. Now, we're going to take our first break on time, which is something I rarely do. And when we get back, you're welcome to call in about this, and I got a lot of news stories to get into. But I'm going to ask you all after the break a couple of specific questions about this show, and I want your audience feedback. All right? And I'll tell you what I'm going to ask about when we get back. My name is Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Now, guys, we made our first donation from the Mighty MAGA Lions to President Trump's campaign yesterday. We're going to make our second donation today because so many of you have been ordering. A bunch of people ordered during and after the podcast last night. So the Mighty MAGA Lion here is available at mightymagalion.com. There's a link in the description of the video, or you can just go to mightymagalion.com and order yours. For every lion sold, we will donate a portion of that sale to President Trump's campaign. Okay, so every time you buy a Mighty MAGA Lion, you are supporting the Trump campaign. If you buy more than one, you get a discount, but you're also making multiple donations. So we're going to make our second donation of the Trump campaign today. So go to mightymagalion.com and order yours. I got a big shipment going out today. A big shipment going out today of the Mighty MAGA Lions to you guys. So thanks so much. And remember, the Mighty MAGA Lion is available exclusively through me. My wife and I got together with Dee, who's one of the moderators in the chat, and we designed the Mighty MAGA Lion and had it custom made. So these are available nowhere else. So yeah, I was amazed. I woke up this morning and so many people listening to the podcast ordered theirs last night. It was amazing. So I got a huge shipment going out today. And I'm going to be, I'll be spending about half the day packing them out and packing them up to ship out. MightyMagaLion.com. MightyMagaLion.com. All right, we'll be back right after this.
My pillow guy, Mike Lindell. Where is Mike? He First of all, he does make a great product, great pillows. I actually use them, believe it or not. He's been a supporter from day one. The My Pillow guy, thank you.
Robert, why do you got to use all caps?
Right
I mean,
from the beginning.
you don't have to use all caps, man.
As always, President Trump
See what I mean about
is
liberals?
right. The My Pillow is so good, even President Trump sleeps on one. Support Mike Lindell, President Trump, and the Steve Kane Show.
I'm going to get to that, Michael Todd.
Go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Kane.
I'm going to play the
at
endorsement.
checkout for huge savings on My Pillow products. Promo code Kane, Kane, at mypillow.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere.
All right, we are back 18 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Before I get to the question about the show, and I got a lot to cover today, including the Black Panther founder that endorsed President Trump yesterday, I want to talk about the laser away pain treatment with Dr. Appleton. The laser away pain treatment has changed my life. He has rid me of pain 5 times. 5 times. Arthritis from injuries, sometimes just growing old. You know, rid me of pain 5 times. The laser away pain treatment works. It's 100% painless, by the way. There's no surgery, no injections, no downtime, no appointments necessary with Dr. Appleton. Walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. And Dr. Appleton performs all of the laser treatments himself. Okay, he doesn't have some technician or an assistant. He does them himself, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, he's done all of mine, and I just thought, you know, because we were talking and we're friends, you know, I was getting a little VIP treatment, and he says, no, he does them for everyone himself. It's absolutely amazing. And the laser away pain treatment works on so many different types of pain: herniated disc, rotary tears, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, sciatica, spinal stenosis, knee pain, repetitive motion injury, strains and sprains, work injuries, sports injuries, bursitis, arthritis, so many different kinds of pain. Give him a call. I'll give you his number. It's 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. AppletonChiro.com. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, now I'm going to ask you guys a question about the show. And this is a serious question, and I want to hear your feedback on this throughout the show today. And I want to hear the feedback from both conservatives and liberals in the audience. And it's about liberal callers. You know, the calls on this show, I know most of you know this, but somebody may be new. All of the calls are screenless. Okay? When people call in, I have the phone right here. I reach over and put the callers on hold and answer them live on the air. You know, we have Mike, our board op. He could answer the phones and screen them. We do not screen the calls. I don't know who is on hold until I put them on the air. In fact, I don't even know. I have no idea what their number is. Nothing. The only information I have is how long the person's been on hold. So you hear me sometimes say I'm going to try to take the calls in the order in which they were received. I can see how long people were on hold. That's it. No one answers the phones. I find out who they are and what they're about live on the air. And I love doing that. I think it makes the show, whenever I talk about this, I think it makes the show much more interesting because you never know what's coming. I don't know what's coming. You know, if you have a name on the board and where they're calling from or anything like that, you can tell a lot just from that. I don't know anything about anyone until they're on the air. I don't know what they're going to bring up till they're on the air. So there's an unpredictable factor to it, which I enjoy. And no one else does this in radio. A lot of people claim that they don't screen calls. No one else does it like this. No one, no matter what they say. They all screen calls except this show. Now, the reason I started doing that was out of necessity. I was on the air overnight, 6 nights a week, doing a live call-in show from 3 to 6 in the morning. And the station wouldn't pay me a salary. So if I ran my own board, I could get paid the board op hourly rate. Remember, guys, when I used to do that show, I did the 20-something show, and then I was on from 3 to 6 in the morning after the terminally boring Mark Scheinbaum, the most boring man ever on the radio. He smoked cigars so much, he stained the microphone. There was a round bit of tar on the microphone. And they wouldn't, I did commercials, and I would get like they'd pay me every time I did a live commercial. And they paid me $10 a spot. That's what they paid me. If I did a live commercial, I get $10 a spot, but they wouldn't pay me anything else. And so I started running my own board so I could get the board op pay. Because, got to make some money, right? And I started taking calls screenless then just because I didn't have anybody there to answer the phones. And then when things moved on and we had the ability to do that, I kept doing it. And I like it. Now, there's a lot of positives to it, and there are some drawbacks. A lot of people make it to the air that probably shouldn't. You get a lot of low-quality calls. You get a lot of chronic stuff. People call a lot that wouldn't normally call, stuff like that. That's okay. I think the negatives are minor compared to the benefits of going screenless on the program. And, it's the reason that other people don't do it is because they'd be terrified. They're afraid that a caller will call in and make them look bad or they won't know something. Please. I have no worries about that. So it's a very risky thing for someone like me to do that. That's why no one else does it. No one. I hear a lot of people say that they take the call screenless. Then why the heck do they have a phone screener? Another reason, too, you don't want to have somebody even answering the phones is because if someone answers the phones, the callers will tell the phone screener or the board op what's on their mind. And then by the time they make it to the air, it's like they're repeating themselves and they lose a lot of the passion and energy. So, so we go screenless. So here's what we're not going to stop going screenless, okay? That will never stop. In fact, I was talking to someone in management the other day, and they were talking, would you do that if you had a national show? I said, if I was on a national show on 400 radio stations like those mediocre guys that took over Rush's time slot, I'd still go screenless. So what if somebody calls in and I don't know something? If somebody makes me look bad, well, whatever, let them try. I don't care. I would do it if I was nationally syndicated. But in many ways, with our large online audience, we are. But I mean, like if we were on 400 radio stations. Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask you about. Yesterday's show, we got a lot of liberals that called in yesterday. And everyone said pretty much the same thing, with no content or discussion. You're a racist. And then I would, try to make conversation about it. And, I've always liked talking to liberals on the phones. I've always done it, always talked to people that disagree. And by the way, there's a lot of people that give me a hard time that are conservative that just don't like me. There's a lot of people that listen that have been listening since I was a kid and they hate me. There's a lot of people that have been listening to Steve since 1977. They love Steve. They hate me like the plague. And then there's people that love me and hate Steve. That's the way it is, So, hate callers, I've always welcomed them. It's fine. I've had people say and do the most vile things in calls over the years. But yesterday's show was this. You're a racist. And then I try to get a conversation going, yeah, but you're a racist. Right? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, Trump's the Antichrist. That guy. You're a racist. He's a racist. Central Park 5, racist. Make America great again for white people. And then Taliban Pat, who's back after about a 10 or 15-year ban from the program, he called in the other day. Steve lifted the ban. And the reason we call him Taliban Pat, this tells you how far back it goes. During the War on Terror, when bin Laden was still on the run, they were looking for a Taliban leader, and Saddam Hussein was still hiding. Before they captured Saddam Hussein, Pat called in, and I'd asked him some questions. We were hunting for bin Laden. Saddam Hussein was on the run, and there was a Taliban leader who's, I forget at the time, who was very high profile they were trying to get. And I asked Pat if he would allow bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, and this Taliban leader to hide out in his house, and he said yes. He said yes, he would allow Saddam Hussein, bin Laden, and the Taliban leader to hide out in his house. He would hide them. So we started calling him Taliban Pat. I know there's other names that might, but Taliban just, just seemed to fit better. And he called in, and they're very nasty for many years. And then he called in, this was about 10 years ago. May have been less, it may have been more, I don't know. I'd forgotten about Pat until he called in. I don't know if it was Monday or Friday. He called in recently. Then he called back yesterday. He made a comment about Steve's wife and Steve's son that was just vile. He had it was sexual in nature. I'll just say that. I'm not going to tell you what he said. And Steve banned him on the spot for life, but Steve lifted the ban this week. It's fine. And then we get this guy on the phone yesterday. This guy hasn't been on the air in like 10 years, right? So what's he do? Trump's a convicted felon, man. Trump, so I try to have a conversation. Trump's a convicted felon, man. And he's like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. No matter what you say, Groot says Groot. And Taliban Pat has devolved so much, whatever you say to him, Trump's a felon. Trump's a convicted felon. It's like talking to a recorded record or something. It's just bizarre. So, where I'm getting to, and I'm going to ask you this question and give out the number and then take our break, and then I'm going to get into some new news, but you're welcome to call in about what I'm going to ask you after the break. Should we take liberal callers? Should we take liberal callers? We used to have liberal guests all the time in the studio. Not only did we used to have liberal guests, we used to do this thing where liberal guests that thought that they couldn't win a debate with us, it was unfair because they were on the phone, these liberal callers, and we were in the studio, Steve and I, that's the only reason we could win. We used to not only invite liberals in as guests, we used to invite liberals in and let them run the show. They would be behind the host mic, and Steve and I would sit in the guest mic chairs with no buttons, no controls. They'd have the board. They'd have all the buttons, and they would talk to us and take calls, and it was always a disaster. They got creamed. I mean, I remember one guy, anybody remember Copa Rick? There used to be a big gay bar called the Copa, and he was, gay, so he probably called himself Copa Rick. He didn't mind, although he claimed he wasn't gay. He brought in a photograph of a family that he claimed was his wife and kids. But anyway, he says, you guys only win against me because you got that mute button on the phone. So we came in, we went, he was going to host the show. He went to the phones. He was on the air less than 60 seconds. He says, Brian, where's the mute button? I said, I said, first off, there is no mute button. That's some fantasy. And we used to bring liberals in all the time and debate them. Do you guys remember Jerry Hurst, the Black Phantom, Black Randy, Joe the Nazi? I mean, we had a long line of liberals and Democrats that we used to bring in the studio all the time. And if you notice, we don't do that anymore. And there's a reason why we don't do that anymore. Liberals, you can't have a pleasant debate with them anymore. They get nasty. They get violent. They get very destructive and pull a lot of stunts, okay? So it's not safe to bring them into the studio. And this really began at, there was an incident, which I'm not going to get into details of. There was an incident at our old studio around January 6th that happened off the air. I'm not going to share with you on the air. And it involved some liberals, and that was it. You can't have these people in studio anymore. They're out of control. You know how liberals are. But the Democrat callers we're getting are pathetic. They say, this is all they say, Trump's a convicted felon, man. You're a racist. Trump's a racist. You're a racist. Make America great again for white people? That's all. That was yesterday's show. And I don't think they're contributing to the discussion. Now, I'm not saying we're banning Democrats, we're banning liberals. I'm not saying that. I haven't even talked to Steve about this, So if he's listening, he probably, I don't know, he ticked at me again. But I want to ask you all in the audience what your thoughts are about us taking Democrat callers. Now, I'll also say this. I love talking to Democrats and debating liberals. And if you listen to me do it, I make all my points through these morons, okay? All of them. I ask them questions and, Like even one of these idiots yesterday said, Trump's a racist, man. I said, why? He called all these Caribbean countries S-holes. And I said, well, he called Haiti an S-hole. And then the guy, it was actually Taliban Pat, agreed with me and Trump that Haiti is an S-hole. Right? So I make my points through these people. No doubt about it. But I want to hear your thoughts. You guys, you listen to the show. You got a little different ear. And by the way, you can be a liberal, Democrat, one of these jerks I'm talking about. You can share your opinion on this as well. Okay? Should we talk to these idiots? Do you enjoy us talking to them? Is it entertaining to you? Is it informative to you? Now, being aggravated, aggravation can be a good thing from a listening perspective. It's okay to aggravate people. So I want to hear your thoughts on us taking liberal callers. Now, again, I'm not saying we're not going to stop taking calls from liberals, okay? That's not what I'm saying here. But I want to hear your thoughts about it. And, what I'd really like to see are these liberals elevate the dialogue a little bit. Now, I understand they're coming from a loser perspective. Okay, I understand they got very difficult positions to discuss, so they have to call in with Trump's felon, you're a racist, because they don't have anywhere to go. How can they defend this garbage, right? So, if we could have some liberals that could actually debate the issues, that would be awesome. But what we have are a bunch of bums that live with their mamas, that are unemployed losers, sitting around in Jersey or Harlem or Miami Gardens. And they're not even talking about the issue. So our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Call us on hold, stand by. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break. I will take your calls, and there's a whole bunch of issues we're going to get into, including one of the founders of the Black Panther Party's endorsement of President Trump. We got to get into that. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
So what do you guys think? I'd like you to call in about it. We used to get Democrat callers who could debate the issues, but they don't do that. These guys aren't doing it. These Democrats we're hearing from are like really low quality callers. They just don't contribute. They have nothing to say. Oh, I can handle all the losers. Don't worry about that. They call in. Absolutely. But you guys can call in and share your thoughts on that. I got a lot to cover here. Let me pull up the... Oh, this is insane. What's going on with the Epic Times is insanity. I want to get into that. Mm-hmm. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And everyone who's already subbed, make sure you like the video, guys. That helps grow the channel. And if you don't mind, share the video on all your social media. That helps grow the channel, too.
Just a $5 minimum all day, every day. PBK's your entertainment destination. Go to pbkennelclub.com for info.
Brian Craig here. I've suffered with
Let's see.
money for years, but not anymore. It's all gone. Thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain system. I've been with Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton, how'd you do it?
By treating the knee pain with laser.
Here we go.
Simple and no side effects.
I'm pulling up the
That have
Black Panther guy.
on joint pain. These are all FDA approved.
Now, you don't just help with knees. Tell the listeners what other areas you can help them with.
Any joint I can do. Shoulder pain, hip pain, sciatica, stenosis.
We'll get to that in just a bit. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
Dr. Appleton is a chiropractic physician. And with the laser away pain system, there's no injections, no surgery, and no
If you're on hold, hang in there.
6 days a week, and same appointments are available. Call right now for your free consultation. 954-973-07.
I took that break really late. Yesterday I started taking allergy medications for the cats yesterday, and my allergies are much, much better. I'm almost have completely no problems. So. I don't know if all those allergy treatments from the allergist are worth it. Why don't you just take Claritin, right? Oh, yeah, you know, the liberals, the Democrats are welcome to call in and share their thoughts on this. There's 2 openings on the board.
That's 561-570-7070. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, I just want to give a shout out to my coffee. This is very important. Anybody that has any kind of acid reflux, if you try the low acidic coffee of my coffee, it is absolutely the best. I wasn't able to drink coffee for years, and I tried it, and now I can drink the coffee with no problem whatsoever. It's absolutely delicious. The flavor is like a tastier flavor than regular coffee. I'm telling you, I don't get stomach aches. I don't get anything. I'm so happy with it, and I think that you ought to mention it. I think it's important, especially for older people.
Mike Lindell says that his coffee, the My Coffee, which is 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com, it's the best tasting coffee you've ever had.
Absolutely true. I have tried over the years other coffees, and nothing comes near his, and that really is the truth.
50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com.
At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and...
Yeah, that My Pillow coffee is spectacular, guys. If you've not ordered, it's 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. It comes in whole bean, ground, and the Keurig cups as well. And there's different blends and strengths. Here we go.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, only 2 openings on the board. It's 41 minutes after 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, boy, oh boy. 1-888-465-2631. I'm going to take these calls before I bring up some new stuff. And I will take them in the order in which they were received. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Louise, the masked lady.
Hey.
Okay? Hi, haven't spoken in a while.
Okay.
Yes, definitely you should take the calls of liberals because it makes it much more colorful. Days that liberals don't call in, I find it's just like preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
It gets redundant.
Really? So you like it when somebody calls in and says, "You're a racist," and they just say that over and over again, and I ask them questions, and they say, "You're a racist."
It doesn't matter the quality.
See, your opinion is biased because you don't like me. You'll deny it. but you don't like me.
Not true.
Oh yeah, no, not only no. I know you'll. Not only do you not like me, which is fine. Lots of my wife listened to me for years on the radio before we met, and she hated me on the radio. Okay, she hated me for years. I didn't know her then, but that's true. And then we met, But anybody who calls in that gives me grief, anyone that calls in and gives me grief, you kind of like try to bond with them.
No, I feel sorry for certain people that you are rude to.
Really? Who do you feel sorry for? What callers do you feel sorry for?
Sometimes it was Richie.
Yeah.
It was what was that other fellow the one that was the first caller and you were
Mike from Louisiana.
Mike from Louisiana. I feel sorry sometimes, It just hurts me when you are...
See what I mean? See, I was right. See how you bond with anybody that I have conflict with. You like.
No, it's not the...
You're not even aware. You need therapy. You been to therapy?
Oh no, it's
have you ever been to therapy?
Being rude.
Oh, so we hit a sore spot. Me being rude.
Like your opinion doesn't count.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Louise. Obviously, therapy is a sore spot with you because I asked you like 3 times. You didn't acknowledge. But me being rude's a problem. But it's okay for them to be rude to me.
Well, that's what makes it come.
Oh, okay. So why? So hold on a second here. So explain this. I love this. I love this. Okay. So you think I should stand here and take calls and have people bark insults at me, and then I'm supposed to I'm not supposed to bite back?
No, when I talk about Richie or the other fellow, it isn't that they're rude to you. If you don't like whatever they're saying, you don't think it's intelligent.
No, you're incredibly wrong. You're incredibly wrong. Mike from Louisiana. I'll give you an example with Mike from Louisiana. Mike from Louisiana was calling at the same time every day. I had talked to him several times and said, "Hey, Mike, I like your calls," even though he doesn't contribute much. He's elevated the quality a little bit because I've talked to him so much about it. I said, but you can't be the first caller every day. You've got to stagger your calls around.
Right.
Well, because it makes the show it makes the show sound small and boring. If you're a listener and it's 6:17, it's Mike from Louisiana segment again. It's boring that way. So that's why. Now, Richie, what happened with Richie is Richie said some things about Steve which were disgusting, and he shouldn't have said the things that he said, including something I heard him say to somebody about Steve on one of the cruises when he didn't think I could hear. I was standing not like 5 feet away from him, and he said some things. So, if you went and saw a comedian at a comedy club and a heckler starts barking at them, they're just supposed to suck it up? See, the thing is, Louise, you and I, when you first started calling with your mask crap, you and I went back and forth, right? You felt beaten up, so you don't like me, and anybody that I have conflict with,
I like a challenge. I went to a group. It's still in existence.
Jerry. I don't. Who cares about you? Oh, by the way, thanks for the call. There was a guy, Jerry Wichner, who used to be on the air. Jerry Wichner, back in the 60s, in the 70s, was one of the top 2 Miami DJs. Back in the Buddy Holly era, when Buddy, in Miami, it was a big deal, right? And later in life, he was a talk show host, right? He did a late night talk show at midnight. And he was a bit of a strange guy and stuff. And but he had this thing where his callers, he had these chronic callers, and he would start his show every day. They called. Did any of you guys remember Jerry Wichner doing this? They would call every day at the same time to just check in, and they'd say they'd be like this. You're on the air. He had a real deep voice, one of those old radio guys, really super deep voice. You're on the air, you know. And they'd say, "Oh, Brian from Palm Beach Gardens, checking in, Jerry. Okay, thanks for checking." And it'd be like endless. It'd be endless. So, you know, you can't have somebody calling in at the same time every day. And I'm certainly not going to stand here and have people insult me, and I'm going to say, "Oh, thank you for your call." See, the masked lady, Louise, because I really gave her a hard time. I don't remember what it was. It had something to do with the mask. I don't remember the call. And she felt stupid and beaten up. So what she wants to have is she wants to tune on the radio and listen to people beat me up and me not respond, right? You know, kind of hold me back like Steve did that time I got attacked on the air. All right, let's take this break, okay? We'll be right back with your calls.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hi, this is Maureen Cohen from Nutrition World Palm Beach Gardens. We're so excited to be celebrating 50 years here in South Florida. The Cohen family started their first health food store in 1972, and ever since have been one of the largest locally owned, family-run health food stores in the area. We carry thousands of supplements like vitamins, minerals, herbs, homeopathics, diet and fitness, and so much more. All your favorite top-quality brands. We also have tons of natural foods like gluten-free, paleo, and organic, as well as health and beauty aids, pet foods, and more. Visit Vanessa, Trish, Denson, Scott, and Bruce. They're here 7 days a week for all your family's natural health needs. So stop by Nutrition World at the northeast corner of PGA Boulevard and Prosperity Farms Road in the Carmine's Market Plaza by the Prosperity entrance. You can call us or text us anytime at 561-626-4377. That's 626-4377. Or check out our website at nutritionworld.com. Come see us 7 days a week at Nutrition World, Palm Beach Gardens.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say our relationship with the Steve Kane Show and the show's listeners keeps getting stronger and stronger. The Steve Kane Show listeners are truly the best customers we have ever had. They are courteous, intelligent, honest, and quite a joy to work with. We have completed thousands of projects for the listeners, from repairs, single-family homes, large HOA complexes, and churches, with great success, and every one of those customers are like family. We have installed all kinds of roofs, from asphalt shingles, clay, and concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof systems. So come on, and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954-604-4602, or find us on the web at laportacontracting.com. The number again is 954-604-4602.
The Greater South Florida Chamber of Commerce City Festival Business Expo and Health Fair is coming up Saturday, June 15th at Miami Springs Golf and Country Club from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The True Oldies channel will be on site from 12 to 2 with some great giveaways, fun, and more. Learn more at GreaterSouthFloridaChamber.com.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Now is the best time when the market is challenged to consider copper, gold, silver, battery metals, clean tech, biotech, and AI equities. Listen to Money Talk Radio South Florida with me, Ellis Martin, 9:30 a.m. weekdays here on your True Oldie station.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show.
All righty, welcome back. Callers on hold, stand by. Just want to talk a minute about MyPillow. You know, huge sales. You know, with the prices of everything going up, MyPillow is one of the few places where the prices have gone down. Friendly Tire too, but at MyPillow, the $25 extravaganza is going on. And in this hot time we're in, my bed is practically air conditioned. I have the MyPillow 2.0 with temperature regulating technology, which is buy one, get one free. It keeps my head and neck cool all night long. I've got the My Pillow mattress topper 2.0 with temperature regulating technology. Keeps my body cool and comfortable all night long, which is 40% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And I also have the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets, which do the same thing, keep you cool. So, and there's a huge discount on those as well, and they come in every mattress size. So these hot months that we've already begun here in Florida, heat index over 100 degrees pretty much every day. And man, it's only June 5th. This is crazy. I get in that bed at night, and man, it's like those cars that have the air conditioners that come out of the seats. I've always wanted one of those. Maybe next time. That's what my bed is like. And $75 orders or more, free shipping. So if you order $75 or more, free shipping at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at MyPillow.com. So go and load up. All right, back to our busy phones. Just 2 openings on the board at this early hour. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, I think you should take liberal callers. I liken it unto planting. Never underestimate planting a seed when you're speaking the word of God to someone. You never know. The Holy Spirit could use that to lead someone to salvation. Well, with liberals, you never know, and it surprised me. My example is with Jay from, is it Jersey? He stood up for Caitlin Clark, and you said why. And that's how we engage liberals, and I learned that from this show, to engage them in truth, and that will lead to something else. Because these people, the worst one is Renee. I really can't. I'm listening.
Well, I'll tell you the thing. Like Jay from Jersey's call yesterday on Caitlin Clark, he was doing something that the others aren't doing. He was talking about an issue. He was being very specific. He wasn't just calling in and barking out insults. There was content. Yeah.
And that's, if we can find some common ground to talk to some liberals. Now, there are some liberals that we know that say, because of their family and friends, they can never say they're a Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. And that's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome to hear that. But to be able to engage a liberal without the yelling and shouting, and the racist card is just ridiculous,
Well, that's a coward move. Listen, the reason they do that is liberal black people run around the world intimidating liberals by the threat of calling them racist. I was watching an interview with Kevin Smith, who did the Clerks movie years ago, and he was doing an interview with a guy named Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor on the Smallville TV series. And they have a friend who's trying to. He wrote a movie that he's trying to get made in Hollywood. That he wants to direct his own movie, and they said that they only hire black directors in Hollywood now. And there is this thing that's going on. That's why I was talking about Caitlin Clark yesterday. With liberal blacks are going around playing the race card everywhere, and the race card's being accepted everywhere these days. So that's why these callers, when they call in and say, you're a racist, Trump's a racist, they think we're going to fall down on the floor, get in a fetal position, and, please don't call me a racist. Please forgive me for my transgressions. Like this guy that called the basketball player a white bee. He didn't call her that. He said that's what the other players were saying about her. Okay, he shouldn't apologize for it. It was, the context is everything. And I knew that yesterday. I thought somebody might call in and point that out, but nobody did. But, there's a big intimidation factor going on with this race card, and I'm sick of it. And, because Steve and I have interracial families, we have protections that other Caucasians don't have on such things. But I'm sick of it. And it's, there's this new Star Wars show, The Acolyte, that premiered last night. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it today. The 2 leads are both black women, and it's the same actors playing both characters. They don't cast white people in leads anymore. There's a big movement of racist black militants in this country, and some of these liberal callers we're talking about, that's where they're coming from.
Well, I believe Obama really first started playing. The Democrat Party really started pushing that. Play the race card, because you can shut them down, be ignorant to them because they're a racist.
Yeah.
And that's a ploy by the Democrats.
You know, years ago, Steve was on. There was an incident. Steve and I used to be on the Broward County School Board Diversity Committee. People were very pissed because we were Republicans, and Steve was involved in a debate with a liberal newspaper columnist named Michael Mayo at a black high school. And the guy and this liberal columnist, it was Steve and him were debating. I was there in the classroom, and it was an ROTC classroom. He kept calling Steve a right-winger, right-winger, right-winger. And Steve says, you know, you use right-winger as a label. It's like calling someone the N-word, but he said the N-word. Steve actually said the word, and there was a black principal was there. There were like 2 white students. And it was a big deal. And Steve got on CNN, and people were calling him a racist. And when Steve was on CNN Live, they pulled up his family picture and showed that he had 3 black kids. And the guy on CNN said to Steve, "These people calling you a racist, do they know you got 3 black kids?" And he says, "Yeah, but they still think I'm a racist, you know." So what I'm tired of with the liberal callers that we're talking about, there's no content. You're a racist. There's no content. There's no discussion, and that's what I'm a little fed up with.
And it goes into basketball, mainly the WNBA, because you have a straight, beautiful white lady that's an incredible athlete, and they want to make it about gays or racist.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into the Caitlin Clark thing again, because that pissed off Steve yesterday. If I do it 2 days in a row, I'll be on the street. Okay, but hey, I got to run. I'll give you the last word though.
But the reason the Democrats do that is they want division, and we want unity. And
correct.
There's difference between us, Brian.
Mm-hmm. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. There's a lot of news to cover. I will get to the news, and we'll take our break for the top. Go back to your calls, and I'll sprinkle in some new news stories. There's a major story involving one of the most important media outlets out there that the Biden regime and the Justice Department are trying to shut down, one of the most important conservative news outlets in America. We're going to talk about that coming up and a whole bunch more. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're off to an awesome start. We're going to see a daytime high today of 91 degrees, partly cloudy skies with a chance of afternoon showers and storms. I'm WPBS 25 First Morning meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
And now,
but something's turned me away from wanting to watch it.
Yeah.
Did you see the interview of the...
Yeah, when he said that Anakin blew up the Death Star.
And he doubled down.
And like on a bunch of interviews, yeah. He's never watched Star Wars, that guy.
At least, inform yourself or something a little bit. Come on.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, well, it's understandable that, you get mixed with Skywalker, Luke, and Anakin.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. I know. I'll watch it. I'm not in. It takes place 100 years before Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, it didn't debut. They did 2 episodes, and they didn't make it available till 9 p.m. last night, so it was too late. So I'll watch it today.
I just love that difference with Hayden hadn't ever joined
yeah.
That he watched Clone Wars to get himself back into
yeah.
It just takes a little effort.
Mm-hmm.
Though he was Anakin for,
Mm-hmm.
you can tell the difference.
Yeah. Slick Pickle, you're right. The only thing Disney Star Wars has done that's good, they've done two things that's good. Rogue One is like an incredible movie. And that one episode at the end of the first season of The Mandalorian where they brought Luke back, that was an exciting scene, but everything else has been crap.
Road, don't miss RV Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Hosted by Giant Recreation World Second Generation owner and CEO Larry McNamara and his co-host Dwayne Adams. RV Hour, Saturday mornings 10 a.m. right here on the True Oldies.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with...
Alrighty, the phones are on fire, so I'm going to take a few more calls on this, and then I'm going to get into some new stories, because there's some big stories we've got to discuss today, and I got a little sidetracked, but that's okay. We're here every day till 9. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. This is Fred from Coral Springs.
Hey, Fred.
I'm going to preface everything I say as being a former radio programmer and ops director, and we had News Talk, and I did News Talk for a while. So just keep that in mind. I think the liberal callers are essential. However, these guys like Renee, I just can't tolerate him because it's like my TV remote is stuck on Joy Reid. There is nothing of value that he offers, and sadly, he calls in sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a week.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you about the liberal callers. For example, it's not liberal callers; it's the quality of the liberals that have been calling in as of late. There's this one joker who Never Trumper Steve from Martin County. He's great, right? He's great. Never Trumper Steve. He hates me. He hates Trump. But he's relevant about the issues that we're discussing and that are in the news that day that he calls, and that's great. But these people just barking, "You're a racist. Trump's a racist." There's nothing. There's no content with that, and it's the quality of these particular callers. I think that where the problem lies. I would never want to stop talking to Democrats, and from a programming perspective, hey, listen, this show is about news, but it's also entertaining. And there's an entertainment factor. It's called, it's like Patrick Bet-David, it's infotainment.
I mean, the reason I listen to you in the morning, and I listen pretty much 3 hours a day, because I'm out walking right now, you can probably hear some.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the variety and the fact that you let people on the air. You listen to these other people like, Bongino or any of these other people, even some of your competition in the morning. All it is the two of them talking, or the three of them talking, one person talking, and it's not entertaining.
No, well, what happened, listen, I'll tell you this, okay? I've been very lucky. I was a big radio listener when I was young, and I listened to everything, FM and AM, both. And I was very lucky when I got into talk radio, because I used to work in music radio. I was not on the air in music radio, but I did little low-level jobs. But I was very lucky that I got to work with people that are incredibly talented. Steve Kane, of course, and those of you that go way back with Steve, Steve was once featured on 60 Minutes with Howard Stern and Alan Burke as one of the 3 most controversial radio talk show hosts in America. Alan Burke was the guy who was assassinated by these white nationalists. They made 2 movies about Alan Burke. Talk Radio with Alec Baldwin and Eric Bogosian, and The Accused with Deborah Winger. Okay, it was about the Alan Burke assassination. So, and Neil Rogers and Al Rantel, those of you that go back to the Miami market of the 80s and 90s. So I learned this craft from incredibly talented people. The people you're talking about, Buck Sexton and Bongino, they don't know about the art of talk. They're more like activist personalities, and they can't take screenless calls. You have a background in radio. Taking screenless calls is scary to people because you don't know what's going to be said, and what these guys fear more than anything else is someone asking them something that they don't have an answer for.
Screenless calls too.
Me too. I think it's amazing.
That's my perspective. I know you got other calls.
All right. I appreciate it. Take care. I spend a lot of times, I do this during the show and after the show and throughout the day. I try to answer as many emails and DMs as I get from people every day. Sometimes I do it during the breaks, because if somebody takes the time, I can't answer everybody. I answer as many as I can. And also on my YouTube channel, on my YouTube videos, people leave comments. I read them all and respond to a lot of them. And there's some people that are really nasty there. There was a lady yesterday, and I wish this lady would call. A lady called, a lady left a message or a comment on my YouTube video yesterday. We're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm not in a cult. I don't worship Trump. She says, on YouTube, she leaves this comment about me. She says, Brian, you say you're not in a cult. You're at 5 a.m., you're at an abandoned airport doing a live video of Trump's plane in the dark. Tell me you're not in a call. I'd love to get that call. There was a guy, let me pull this up. If you're on hold, hang in there. There was a guy who left this comment. I'll take another call and I'll find it. It was a great insulting comment that I'll share with you in just a minute. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is my coffee, Maddie.
Hey, Maddie. What's up?
Yeah, I'm becoming famous to myself anyway. I cannot stand Jay. I cannot stand Renee. And if there was a way that you could know either one of them and not take their calls, because they don't say anything.
Well, then we're in the business of screening calls. Taking the calls screenless, I think, is one of the things that makes the show special. And I don't want to screen calls. So that's
With them, as you said, they have nothing to say. It's the same thing over.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, let me give you an example. This is a guy. This guy left this comment during yesterday's show on YouTube. Okay? And this is a very nasty comment this guy left. And I wish this guy would call and confront me with this. This is what he said. This is what he wrote on yesterday's show, the video on YouTube, the one with Marjorie Taylor Greene. He says, Cranky Brian, every day by the third hour, caffeine addict, and then he puts in parentheses, amphetamine, sleep deprived and hungry, becomes so agitated. So he says, Cranky Brian, every day by third hour, caffeine addict, amphetamine, sleep deprived and hungry, becomes so agitated, claims he wants all opinions, then name calls and won't let callers speak. Then he says, our dad has Steve Kane's 80s picture at the beach. Our America, and then he puts a sad face and an American flag. Okay, this guy's pissed off, doesn't like me. I'd love that guy to call me out on this stuff. The screenless calls aren't for these, you're a racist, you're a racist, you're a racist. That would be a great hate call if that guy would man up and confront me.
See, I don't know what Jay would do during the day if he didn't call you. Same thing with Renee, and they're both unhinged.
Well, what they wouldn't do, and that's like get a job and work.
Well, that's for sure. Well, anyway, I vote don't have them.
Okay, all right. Take care. All right, let's go. Let's see here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on. Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air.
Lauderdale.
Yeah, what's up?
Fort Lauderdale. Hey, the racist thing, I'm just so tired of hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
White people are becoming a minority these days, and nobody looks at that situation. And if you say something incorrect, you're obviously a racist, because, all white people are racist, automatically, no matter what. If you're a Republican, you're guaranteed to be a racist. But the Democrats are the biggest racists of them all.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's what you said there at the end is true. Very true.
It's just that the TV has changed, like you said. You now know none of the actors. Everything is going to a different direction, which is fine with me. Let it be. But don't call me a racist because I don't want to watch a program.
Okay. All right. Appreciate the call from Fort Lauderdale. But, yeah.
Your callers, I love the debates, but I wish the one person would stop calling that Renee guy. He's got no quality to the show, doesn't give you guys any content, and all he does is say the same thing over and...
Yeah, you're racist. You're racist. You're racist. Yeah, that's true. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Like I said,
oh, hey, Doug.
Oh, since you guys brought it up, I guess what everybody wants to say is, you know, it's one thing to have a Democrat get on and have an educated conversation and be able to go back and forth. But these other guys that are calling up, I think that what everybody will want is to say, go get a job and hang up on them. So I'm just cut it short because these guys...
Well, you know, I don't know. You know, listen, as I said, the Democrats have changed. They used to debate, okay? Like I talked about a couple times, there was a group of Democrats that snuck onto our cruise and stalked me for the whole 8 days, okay? And I didn't tell anybody on the cruise about this other than Ian, our travel agent, and my family until the last day because I didn't want people to get agitated or worried about it. And it was pretty bad. Now, I'll tell you, for the next cruise, we've taken some security precautions, which it seems insane to me that I got to take security precautions, you know. But, you know, I had these stalkers stalking me through the Caribbean. Just, you know, it was nasty. Liberals have always been wrong, but they've given up debate now, and it's part of this cancel culture, and they just bark just meaningless talking points these days as opposed to having a discussion.
Let me ask you a question. Are you saying these people who stalked you, you think they were paid to go stalk you, or they...
They were. I don't know how they got there. I mean, they paid a lot of money to come and harass me, you know. And it was very uncomfortable. I did not care for it, and it as the week went on, it got worse and worse. And I was a little caught off guard by it. So but we're taking precautions for the next one. In fact, we already have, which is so strange.
You know, these Democrats today, like you said, I think they're all programmed. I don't know how this is happening, but I was talking to two conservatives telling them, listen, we got to be very careful not to have any violence.
Well, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Merrick Garland was testifying in Congress, and I watched some of that exchange, and he is planning on mass J6 arrest if Trump loses and Biden's reelected. You know, and Democrats, see, the thing with liberals, the thing with Democrats, they're very arrogant. They think that they are so right about everything. And even though they're a minority opinion these days, they think they represent the majority. And they've convinced themselves, since they're right and they represent the people, they're entitled to do whatever it is they want to do, including arrest presidents, and round up Americans and put them in gulags, like they've done with many of the J6ers. They feel very entitled to do that. And I got news for you. God help this country if Trump is not reelected, because they'll start massive crackdowns across this country against people like you've never seen. There's another Trump lawyer that's facing charges. I saw this morning in, is it Wisconsin? I've never heard of lawyers being arrested and charged with crimes and being forced to testify against their clients. I mean, lawyers represent pedos and murderers, and I've never heard of any of them being arrested and charged. But if you represent Trump, you go to prison.
This is really sick. We got to make sure Trump gets elected. And I was talking to the Republicans, and all of a sudden, one of the Democrats come over and said, "Oh, isn't your side saying there's going to be violent?"
No, there's going to be no violence. All right, listen, I appreciate the call. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
It's crazy the things you can do with a smartphone or tablet these days. Stream movies, take pictures, order groceries. Heck, you can even make yourself look like a unicorn. And with the Sloman's Shield home security system, you can do something really important too. Keep your family safe. Just call 833-283-5050 and you can get a free home security system, plus your choice of a free indoor monitoring camera or programmable thermostat when you subscribe to Sloman's low-cost monitoring service for 5 years. With the award-winning
award-winning Sloman Shield, you can use your smartphone or tablet to arm and disarm your system. View your home, lock your doors, control your thermostat, even turn your lights on and off. And switching to Sloman's is easy when you call 833-283-5050. Call today and your home security system will be smarter, better, and more affordable than ever. Get a free security system and home monitoring for less than $1 per day at 833-283-5050. Call today.
Is this guy with the pillows on?
All right.
.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at...
All righty, 19 minutes, actually 20 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian, it's the Steve Kane Show. Let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Hey, Richie.
Okay, now we'll get down to the brass tacks here. You're a big boy with big pants. You could hold your own with anybody. I've called you up in the past. You've hung up on me in 30 seconds. And then I've called you, and you've talked to me for 10, 15 minutes. I believe that you shouldn't bar anybody. There are people that call, and I don't agree with you all the time. We have disagreements. I like you as a person, and you know I do. I mean, and there've been times where you've hung up on me, and I've sat there looking at a wall, talking to myself, saying, "How could he do this to me?" I didn't even get a chance to open my mouth. Sometimes you're quick on the trigger, but that's my opinion. But here's the deal. I'd rather hear Renee and these people call in. And Renee, by the way, not only attacked you, attacked me in the same phone call.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather hear that. I'd rather hear that than hear some of the people that call up every day and agree with you. Like, it sounds like Polly the Parrot. I mean, and I can name names. I don't want to insult people that call up. You just had one this morning. He's an ex-Marine who's a great guy, but I never heard him have a controversial call with you.
Are you talking about Jeff from Maine?
Exactly, and he's a good...
No, I agree. Listen, here's what's happened, okay? You know, Jay, Renee, and even that old-timer that's back, right, Taliban Pat. These callers, what's happened with these... And what I'm trying to do with this discussion is for them to elevate the quality of their calls. I agree. I love talking. I'll talk to liberals all day. And I love it. But what's happened is some of these callers have devolved, and they've just given up talking about the topics and the issues. And I would like them to just elevate the quality of their content. They don't have to, I don't want them to agree with me. I don't expect them to. But I would like them to talk about the issues as opposed to just barking out, "You're racist."
Well, here's the deal with that. I get that. I enjoy, first of all, Steve Kane and you, and I say Steve was the first out of the box. He used to have shows like that every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a 4-hour fight on the phone. I mean, it was the greatest entertainment for anybody could, because Steve took all comers, and if they called him a racist, Steve would strike back.
But you know the thing about the thing about what you're talking about, because that's we used to do that. Okay, the reason we don't do that as much anymore is not by our choice. The Democrats have changed. The Democrats have changed. Democrats are no longer interested in debate. Democrats are into name calling, barking at people, and canceling people. They're not interested. Liberals. They come from a losing position. They know this. They know that their ideas don't hold up to debate, so they've given up on debate, and they don't debate anymore. Very rarely.
When they call you up and they start attacking you, calling you a racist, that's when it gets spicy. When you
yeah, sure. I enjoy that, and I enjoy that.
Well, to me, that's entertainment.
Yeah.
They call you a racist, you call them. It gets to be name calling. I'm not one of these people. You got people that call up and they're very religious people. I will never knock somebody who's very religious, but the whole stick is the Lord is safe. The Lord will watch over us. So what? You have to take care of yourself out there, folks. I believe in what you want to believe, but you can't just say God will take care of it for every phone call you give Brian either.
Yeah.
There are people that are calling in. I enjoy your show totally. That's why you hear me listening for years and years and years. But like I said, I would, like that lady just called up and said I wouldn't take Renee's call. I take Renee's call every day, sometimes 2-3 times.
Well, no, once a day. Now, I agree with you, but what I would like these callers to do is, and I know it's difficult as a liberal, try to talk about the issues on the table. Enough of this.
Issues. How could you defend what they've done to this country? The most incredible thing. And let me just say one thing. You might not let me get this out, and I hope you do.
Here we go.
You know this amnesty deal that this guy in the White House had yesterday?
Yeah.
I didn't know that he had some woman working for him that's not an elected person that went around to the judge. She works for the Justice Department. They have actually gone to the judges, and they, without any hearings for these illegals, as long as they haven't committed a crime, they've actually waived them into the
correct.
Them blanket amnesty.
Correct.
Is against the Constitution.
Yeah, it's against the law.
Well,
look, they're doing it, and look what they're doing in California right now. They're allowing illegals without any work permits or anything to work in government jobs throughout the entire state of California now. It's in the news today. So they're taking down our. Don't you understand? Well, we have the Washington establishment of the Uniparty are collaborators. They're just like those collaborators in Europe when the Germans took over. They're collaborators. They're collaborating with China and others to take down this country for their own personal profit.
It's wide. It's open. They don't hide it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I gotta run, Richie. Thanks for the call. Good points. Now, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. We will go back to the phones, and you're welcome to call in about this, but I'm going to bring up some other stories after the news, because there's a lot. I didn't expect this to take off like this for an hour. But hang in there. I will take your calls after the break. There is a major move to bring down a very important conservative news outlet that I'm going to get into when we get back. It is a very important story. Very few people are going to cover it, and it involves the Epoch Times. And I know a lot of you are familiar with the Epoch Times. Okay? We're going to talk about that and what the future of this country will be like if the Democrats win in November. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're off to an awesome start. We're going to see a daytime high today of 91 degrees, partly cloudy skies with a chance of afternoon showers and storms. I'm WPBS 25 First Morning meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Up to speed and moving smoothly on the turnpike at 95 north and south through Delray Beach, Boynton Beach, Lake Worth and West Palm. Palm Beach Gardens construction on the Beeline Highway from West Blue Heron Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard. This traffic update is sponsored by Dell Technologies. Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to now. That's traffic. I'm Dory Don.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Come out to the poker room at PBKC with 65 tables of action. Open daily for cash games, daily high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and exciting tournaments. Bet small and win big with table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum all day, every day. PBKC, your entertainment destination. Go to pbkennelclub.com for more info.
Hi, this is Gabriel with Florida Cash Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house in South Florida and want to sell it fast for a great price, call me at 561-570-7070. I can pay cash at close in as little as 3 days or on your time frame. I can even pay you a cash advance before the closing. I'm a local cash buyer and I'm looking to purchase more houses. I buy all types of properties in any condition, any price range, in any situation. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I will even buy foreclosures and haunted houses. Woo! Do you own a vacant house or one that is trashed and needs thousands in repairs? Great! I love buying fixer-uppers. Regardless of your situation, I understand that life happens, and I'm here to help you. If you own a home and want to sell it fast and easy, I'll buy it. Call me at 561-570-7070. That's 561-570-7070. 561-570-7070. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, I just want to give a shout out to my coffee. This is very important. Anybody that has any kind of acid reflux, if you try the low acidic coffee of my coffee, it is absolutely the best. I wasn't able to drink coffee for years, and I tried it, and now I can drink the coffee with no problem whatsoever. It's absolutely delicious. The flavor is like a tastier flavor than regular coffee. I'm telling you, I don't get stomach aches. I don't get anything. I'm so happy with it, and I think that you ought to mention it. I think it's important, especially for older people.
Mike Lindell says that his coffee, the My Coffee, which is 50% off with our promo code Kane, and check out KANE at mypillow.com, is the best tasting coffee you've ever had.
Absolutely true. I have tried over the years other coffees, and nothing comes near his, and that really is the truth.
50% off with our promo code Kane, and check out KANE at mypillow.com.
Hey, grab your flip-flops and get ready for a summer in paradise on Margaritaville at Sea, where cruises to the Bahamas now start at just $75 a person for a limited time. Dance the night away at our high-energy poolside parties, then settle in for island-inspired cuisine night after night with your favorite plus one. From fins up to sundown, a Bahamas getaway with Margaritaville at Sea is the perfect summer refresh. Book it today to lock in your savings on your next cruise together at margaritavillatSea.com.
Are you exhausted?
We'll back right after this, guys.
Energy left in the tank to give your family? Are you having a midday crash on a daily basis? Women, are menopause symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, and depression making your daily life feel far more difficult than it should? Men, do you feel like you are aging far beyond what you should? Is your sexual life and relationship suffering because of disappointments in the bedroom? Then take action and let our medical team at Lighthouse Medical Center help you stop the symptoms that are holding you back. We use all natural hormone optimization therapies with precision technology to help solve your problematic symptoms. Our family-owned practice has had the honor of serving our South Florida community for over 71 years. Call us right now and let our medical team get you optimized and feeling the way that you should. Life is too short to be running at less than 100%. You and your family deserve the best version of you. Call us at 754-222-6642 or visit us at lighthousemedicalcenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the...
Alrighty, we're back. Call us on hold, stand by. You're welcome to call in about everything we talked about in the first half of the show, but there's a lot of other stories I got to get to. And sometimes it's so weird how radio show works. You mention something, you think it's going to be in passing, then all of a sudden it's like a freight train with the calls, and that's awesome, and it's great. But there's some other stories I do got to mention. Anyone who's ever been to a Trump event, not just the rallies, but any Trump event, you've seen it. There's so many Vietnamese and Chinese people there, dissidents. And the reason they're with Trump is because they understand what communism is about and how China has taken over this country. China is waging the most brilliant war against a nation that a nation has ever waged. And they're not using tanks. Sometimes they use balloons. But what they really use is they just buy off the politicians. That's it. It's very effective. The southern border issue, 100% China. 100%. Okay? The Democrat Party, completely owned by China, and many in the Republican Party too, in D.C. This is known. You know, there was a story I was reading yesterday. This was blew me away. I tweeted this story. I'm not going to go through the story, but I'll just reference it. You always hear people talking about these NGOs, the non-governmental organizations. A huge chunk of these NGOs that you always hear referenced in mainstream corporate media are Chinese-owned. Sometimes directly, but many times through a bunch of different companies, you know, like shell companies and all this stuff. But China owns a lot of these NGOs, and it's insane what's going on. And, of course, they own Biden. There's no doubt about it, okay? No doubt about it. The entire southern border is being organized by China, 100%. They're working with the cartels in these South American governments, but it's China. For a lot of reasons I've talked about many times, and I just don't want to get into all of it now. But that's a fact, right? Remember the spy? I mean, our military, our government could not even shoot down those spy balloons over our most classified areas where our stealth fighters, bombers, and nuclear silos are, because they've all taken the Chinese money. It's like Judge Merchan with the daughter. So this morning, I go through the news. I see two big stories about the Epoch Times. The Epoch Times, which is spelled in a funny way, it's spelled E-P-O-C-H, very conservative, very conservative. I've met some of the Epoch Times people at Trump rallies and Trump events many, many times. And you see them around everywhere. Here, I don't know what it's like where you guys live, but here in South Florida, they've had billboards all up and down I-95 for a long time. I was surprised. Epoch Times. Have you seen the billboards off of I-95 here in Palm Beach and Broward County? It's amazing. The Epoch Times is run by Chinese dissidents. The Epoch Times is amazing. And any MAGA person out there who's gone to the Epoch Times, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They have a team of investigative journalists. It's a must-read. It's a newspaper that they actually print, but they got a website. You see their stories everywhere. It is one of the most. It's not just like a website that posts some conservative things. It's a real highly funded news operation. It's a professional newspaper with an online edition and a print edition, the Epoch Times. And it's run and owned and everything by Chinese dissidents whose mission is to stop the CCP and free China from the communist oppression. Okay? And what's happened? The chief financial officer of the Epoch Times has just been indicted by the Biden government for some money laundering scheme. Okay? This is in Breitbart. It's reported in other sources too. The finance chief of the conservative global news network Epoch Times has been arrested over alleged involvement in a global money laundering scheme. They are accusing him of laundering at least $67 million. According to the indictment, Bill Guan led the Epoch Times money team, and it goes on. They were using crypto and all kinds of things. The Epoch Times in the last 6 months or a year has grown by epic proportions, all right, to do a play on words, like with the billboards. I see them everywhere. I get their newspaper at home. I'm a subscriber to their website too. And I don't pay for subscriptions to too much. There's too much free content in the news out there to pay, but I wanted to support the Epoch Times and have by subscribing both to their print and their online edition. Okay? I mean, I could call them and they'd give it to me for free, but I want to help them. You think it's just a coincidence that the Chinese CCP-controlled Democrat government just indicted their chief financial officer? That was an order from the CCP. The CCP have so much juice in this country, they're about to take down the Epoch Times. This is scary stuff. You know, President Trump said yesterday, he says, I am a political prisoner. Let me pull it up. I'd rather hear him say it than me. Let me pull this up. I played it at the top of the show, but I want to play it again. Let me pull it up here. I know. Okay, this is it. Okay, this is President Trump. Yesterday, he released a bunch of videos online. This is one of them.
I am the political prisoner of a failing nation, but I will soon be free on November 5th. The most important.
And let me start it over because I had the volume a little low. Okay, Trump posted this online yesterday.
I am the political prisoner of a failing nation, but I will soon be free on November 5th, the most important day in the history of our country, and we will together make America great again. Thank you.
Okay. I'm a political prisoner of a failing country. He is so spot on, right on the money with this. And this thing with the Epoch Times should frighten the living daylights out of you. I'm very curious if some of the other conservative talkers will discuss this. Okay, because I know, for example, Dan Bongino on his website posts stories from the Epoch Times every day, and I know a lot of other people are too. They're run by Chinese dissidents. I've heard some of them are inspired by Tiananmen Square, or maybe they were even there. I don't know, but I've heard that. They support Trump. They strongly oppose the CCP, and they do real reporting. They do real reporting. You think it's just a coincidence that the CCP, Chinese-controlled government, has just indicted their chief financial officer on money laundering? Don't you understand that what's going on with the Epoch Times? It's what's happened to Mike Lindell at MyPillow. It's what's happened to Donald Trump. It's what's happened to many of these Trump lawyers that have been arrested, indicted, and everything else. It's what's happened to Roger Stone and Peter Navarro. What's happened to Steve Bannon and others. Okay? I mean, we have political prisoners all over this country. All of them are MAGA. If Trump is not reelected in November, this will be, you think they're doing it now. If they were to win in November, they would take that as a mandate that they have been given the green light by the American people to do whatever it is they want to do, and they'll put it into overdrive and warp speed. Whatever they're doing now, putting people in prison because they oppose them politically. Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon. What was Trump's other campaign? I forgot his name. The other campaign manager, the ascot-wearing guy from the Reagan administration, worked for Bob Dole. I forgot his name. I've interviewed him. I forgot his name. I'm bad with names, guys. I mean, what's going on is insane. Don Jr. visited Peter Navarro in prison a couple weeks ago. They will amp it up. You know, Merrick Garland is a very scary man. He authorized deadly force to be used on the raid of Mar-a-Lago, where a president and first family live. That's insanity. That's how far we've gone. You know, all these people that say they won't put Trump in jail, there have been two indicators that he is going to get sentenced to jail. The one I played on Monday was Sunny Hostin from The View, who says that she has a source at Bragg's office who says they're going to recommend a year in jail. She's a clown. Who knows? That could have just been some guy trying to impress her, trying to get into her pants, okay? But J. Edgar Comey, that's a whole nother story. Remember what Comey said the other day? Comey outlined how they would keep him in jail. They'd put him in a house, prison house, separate from the main jail. Remember, he went through the details. So don't be so sure that they're not going to put Trump in jail. Maybe not. Probably not. I don't know. But when they're doing things like this to the Epic Times, they put so many Trump people in jail. And they're continuing to do it. As I said to a caller earlier, another one of Trump's lawyers that I've never even heard of before, indictment, I think in Wisconsin, if I remember correctly. You see what's happened? Christina Bobb, indicted in New Mexico. She's another Trump attorney. Sometimes you see her on Right Side Broadcasting, Christina Bobb. She was on Patrick Bet-David's show the other day. She's another Trump lawyer who's been indicted. Mayor Giuliani, a Trump lawyer, indicted. How many Trump lawyers have been indicted? A dozen at this point, maybe? 10, 8? I don't know. I've never heard of this happening before. We're in another country right now. This is a police state. And if Trump is not reelected, they're going to lock the whole country down. The whole country will be on lockdown like we've never been before. We're going to take our last break of the second hour. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. We've had great, spectacular calls today on the topics from the first hour, and I thought there was a lot of very constructive analysis that came from most of our callers in that hour of calls we took on that, by the way. And I hope some of the liberal callers liberals aren't into taking advice and criticism and stuff. I hope they take some of that and use it constructively, because it was constructive criticism. And if you notice, most of the MAGA callers like these liberal jerks that call us, and I like them too. But I'd like to hear some liberals try to explain why it's okay to do what they're doing, like put Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon in prison, to arrest a Chinese dissident who's running the Epic Times that's opposing the CCP, supporting Trump and opposing Biden. All right, we'll take our break. 1-888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Brian Craig here. I've been telling you about how my chiropractor, Dr. Philip Appleton, has rid me of pain from a knee injury and arthritis pain with his laser away pain treatment. But don't just take my word for it. This is one of our callers who called me live on the radio to tell me how chiropractic physician Dr. Philip Appleton helped him with his laser away pain treatment. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling?
My name's Sean, calling from Boca Raton. I want to thank you guys once again. I
right, we'll be back shortly, guys. Sorry, I'm just reading over some stuff. All right, there is only one opening on our very busy board. Stand by. I'm going to go to the phones in just a moment, but first I want to talk about Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. Now, first off, I want to tell you, the laser away pain treatment works. He's relieved me of pain 5 times. You've heard me talk about this for a long time. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know what I'd be like today if it weren't for Dr. Appleton. I'd be aching a lot, I'll tell you that. I'd be in a lot of pain. I'm pain-free because of Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment, where there's no surgery, no drugs, no injections. You ever know people that go and get shots every once in a while for pain? How the hell does that work? Plus, you get addicted to that stuff. The laser away pain treatment, the reason it works so well, and no drugs, completely painless, Dr. Appleton performs all of the laser treatments himself, is because what the laser does is actually repair the damage that is causing the pain. Of course, you guys know this, you're adults. Pain is a signal your body is sending you to let you know something's broken, something's wrong. The laser away pain treatment repairs the injury that's causing the pain. I don't know how it does it. Talk to Dr. Appleton. All I know is it's painless and it works. And if I'm ever in pain again, which I'm sure I will because I'm always doing something stupid to get hurt, I'll be in there the next day getting treated. You know, being in pain is not a part of growing old. I thought it was. Be pain-free, like me, without any addictive pain medication. Okay? 954-973-0710 is Dr. Appleton's number. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. AppletonChiro.com. Call Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben from Pompano.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, so, you know, I'm just so aghast at how Republican AGs have not stepped up to the plate at this point to at least, like, I don't know what you think about this, but do you agree we should fight fire with fire at this point? I mean, it's been, ever since the raid on Mar-a-Lago, they've been doing, there's no line in the sand which they won't cross. And so it's like,
well, no, this is what I'd like to see. No, I don't want to see Republican AGs start indicting all the Democrats. Okay? What I want to see is, we'll wait for Trump on that. Okay? He was talking with Greg Kelly on Newsmax last night about prosecutions of these lawfare people. Okay? You know, let's not start doing what they're doing. Let's seek justice for what they've done, right? Because they're criminals. What I'd like to see, though, is the damn government shut down by the Republican Congress. I don't care if we have a 1-seat majority. You know, this stuff's got to stop. Got to stop. And this story with the Justice Department raiding Epic Times, one of the leading conservative news sources in America today, that's standing up to the CCP. This will be the America next year if Trump's not the president everywhere.
yeah, but as far as the AGs go, I mean, you say you only want to indict them for their crimes, but I mean, Trump didn't commit any crimes, so the things they're cooking up it's a complete sham, and they coordinate.
Yeah.
Years in. They put the billboards up. I don't know if you saw that they put the billboards up in the swing states that have people saying, "I'm an ex-Trump voter."
Yeah, bull crap.
Convicted felon.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to those people. Bull crap.
Well, Tim Pool pointed out that it takes months. It takes a lot of preparation to get those to get billboards, especially if there's a lot of them, and coordinate it. So they've been planning those billboards for months. This whole thing is coordinated. So when it comes to the AGs, Republican AGs indicting Democrats, we know they've committed crimes.
Listen, this is the Democrat. Rush Limbaugh used to say all the time, right? You hear me say, the Democrats have that same old worn-out playbook. I remember I was talking about this the last week on the air, okay, about Air America Radio. When Air America went on the air, it was during the Bush-Kerry election. Before they went on the air, I predicted how it would work out, and it worked out just as predicted. Every other call was a lifelong Republican who was going to vote Democrat for the first time in their life. Okay? So that's an old play. That makes no sense. Somebody voted for Trump. Now they're going to vote for Biden. So all of a sudden, they're for abortion on demand. They're for increase in taxation. You know, the list goes, open border all of a sudden. It doesn't even make sense. I don't know who could even believe that.
Well, I mean, you saw it in 2020 and 2022.
Nobody believes that. No one believes that.
No one believes what? That, well, Joe Biden won.
The only people that would go from Republican to Democrat are people that have severe head injuries. It makes no sense to go. It makes sense to go from Democrat to conservative for a bunch of reasons.
Right. One's a false reality and one's an actual.
Exactly.
Also, who those never Trumpers? The Rick Wilson guy with the Lincoln Project. Those guys are like what we have in our side is a problem with like McCain style Republicans or Bush style Republicans who we have never Trumpers. That like Bill Kristol. This guy's in.
The people you're talking about, the Weekly Standard, Lincoln Project people. One thing I found this out a couple years ago. I had no idea that George Conway was during the Clinton era was friends with Ann Coulter and Laura Ingraham, and a few other people. These are people. They're country club Republicans. They're people that they summer in Rhode Island and the Vineyard and all that stuff, and they're just elite conservative country club people. And they don't want us in their country club. They would rather lose the elections and maintain control of the party than win and have other people like the Trump family taking over the RNC. That's what that's all about.
So that's so true, and I think that is why Trump is the most consequential figure in modern history, is because he wrestled control of the Republican Party away from the Cheney types, the Bush types, the McCain types, the McConnell types, and brought it.
I mean, how many people have been? How many people? I want you to think about it. How many people have died because George Bush and Dick Cheney lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq?
You couldn't even count it. I mean, the civilians, the innocent civilians.
I was listening this morning. They were talking ISIS-K. That sounds like a breakfast brand, right? ISIS. They're talking about an ISIS-K attack. You know, ISIS. Everybody that ISIS kills is because Bush and Cheney lied about weapons of mass destruction. You understand? You know, these are sick, twisted criminals. In fact, it's. I was watching yesterday. I was watching last night before bed, 12 O'Clock High with Gregory Peck. It's one of my favorite movies, you know, because tomorrow's D-Day, so World War II movies are on, you know. And I'm starting to think that war could have even been prevented. You know, this military-industrial complex that controls this government, they're behind Ukraine. They were behind the 20-year Afghan war. You know, come on. These guys were on donkeys. It took us 20 years, and we still lost. Vietnam.
The Daily Mail just came out with something yesterday that showed that NATO is thinking about introducing, or what was it? It was just Jesse Kelly retweeted it. The Daily Mail came out with, they're now trying, it looks as though they're going to try to get U.S. involved, U.S. troops, the front line in the...
That's correct.
Quote, yeah, and so just in time for election season, right? They're going to cook up a war.
Because history in American history, no president has lost re-election in wartime. So they authorized a couple of days ago Ukraine can use American weapons to bomb Russia, and then they did it. Okay, you know, tomorrow's June 6th. I know millennials and Gen Z don't know the significance. But I'm at the point now, I'm so suspicious of the government. Did they really have to do that D-Day invasion? Couldn't they just bomb the living daylights out of them from up ahead? You know what I mean? But there's a lot of money in boats, in those boats, and those bullets, and those rifles. I'm suspicious of everything about this government. This government hates the American people, and it's a money-making operation for the elite.
They've become like this cancerous enemy tumor that is simply, it's like now it's us versus them.
And I don't believe that it started after World War II with Eisenhower talking about the military-industrial complex. It's always been there. It's always been there.
I don't know, but I don't know, but I know that I know that now they're going to try to intentionally escalate this war because between us and Russia, because like you said, it's an election season, and look
at who's that woman that was running for president that has sex with men other than her husband in parking lots in the family car? You know who I'm talking about? Nikki Haley. I knew her. Nikki Haley. Nikki, I knew her name. I just wanted to point out that she's a skank. She's over in Israel autographing bombs. And she works for the military contractors, okay? They made her a millionaire several times over.
it wasn't a good look.
Well, she's still running. She is still running for president. President Trump said in an interview over the weekend that this is all about the primary, and they're laughing at him. He's already won the primary. The convention has not happened yet. They still think there's a play to plug in Nikki Haley and probably Ron DeSantis as the VP, who's been very silent lately, DeSantis, at the convention. I'm not saying they're going to be successful, but she's still campaigning. That's why she's over there autographing bombs like an idiot.
Yeah, I hear it. All right, Brian.
All right, take care. All right. There's only one opening on the board where the caller I was just talking to was from. So we'll continue this after the top of the hour. Steve will be joining us as well. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar. WIRK 103.1 HD3.
You want to know what's happening tomorrow in Washington? We've got Joe Biden that is literally going to put into executive orders a permanent invasion, daily invasion of our country. He's going to make it legal. He's going to make it law. He's going to do that with the power of his presidential pen. Impeach Joe Biden. Republicans continually have their head up their ass and can't figure out how to actually use the power that the people gave us. This is a new time in America, and I am so fed up, Steve. I am so fed up. I am so sick of it because I know people at home are sick of it. People are sick and tired of a feckless, useless Republican Party that never does a damn thing to stop any of this. They just sit in the boat and row along with the Democrats and row and row. Well, one day we are going to row ourselves right off of that cliff.
I was listening to that to make sure there was no F-bombs so I can play it on the radio.
140 new HD TVs, big screens, exceptional dining, and full bar. PBKC is your entertainment destination with poker, table games, OTB, exceptional dining, and events like the 156th running of the Belmont this Saturday. Go to pbkennelclub.com.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor could order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All righty, callers on hold, stand by. There's 2 openings on the board at 1-888-465-2631. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. Before we go back to the calls, I want to play this. This is the great Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was on Steve Bannon's program yesterday, and she's spectacular, isn't she? I mean, she's awesome. And she was talking about Biden authorizing the invasion of the southern border, and she's so, as always, spot on. Hold on, let me cue it up. Why isn't it playing now? What do I have it on? Okay, I had the wrong pod on. Here we go. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
To impeach Joe Biden because of the invasion of the United States. You want to know what's happening tomorrow in Washington? We've got Joe Biden that is literally going to put into executive orders a permanent invasion, daily invasion of our country. He's going to make it legal. He's going to make it law. He's going to do that with the power of his presidential pen. Impeach Joe Biden. Republicans continually have their head up their ass and can't figure out how to actually use the power that the people gave us. This is a new time in America, and I am so fed up, Steve. I am so fed up. I am so sick of it because I know people at home are sick of it. People are sick and tired of a feckless, useless Republican Party that never does a damn thing to stop any of this. They just sit in the boat and row along with the Democrats and row and row. Well, one day we are going to row ourselves right off of that cliff.
Oh, boy, yeah, Bannon's trying to jump in and talk. Let Marjorie Taylor Greene speak, Bannon. I know you don't have a lot of time left. They're locking you up, too, because he's going to be the next political prisoner. But she's right. They're saying he's securing the border. He just legalized illegal immigration by, what, $1.5 million a year? He's legalized illegal immigration. So, there's no more illegal immigration. He just legalized it. Then, there's no problem now. There's no problem. There's no illegals coming because they're all legalized. Boy, they think we're stupid. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Dave from Stewart.
Hey, Stewart. What's up?
Hey, Merrick Garland and all the Democrats get in front of Congress. They just laugh at them. Congress has zero power against these people. They question them, and they throw. It doesn't matter if they don't want, like Fauci doesn't want to add.
Yeah. Well, no, you're completely wrong. I don't know about Fauci because he's retired from government now, right? But the House of Representatives has an incredible amount of power. They just don't use it. The House of Representatives is the most powerful body in our government because they control the federal treasury and how the money's spent. They can shut down everything. And they
corrected me, and you were right. They have the power. They don't use it, and it seems like when the Democrats get on the stand and they get questioned, okay, you did this wrong, and then after the congressional meeting and a hearing, nothing happens. Say, well, we got him on that one.
Listen, I don't watch congressional hearings too much, okay? And see, the reason is that, we had these 2 big hearings. We had Garland yesterday and Fauci the day before. Why do you think those hearings happened? I know. See if you know why.
Actually, I don't know why.
Okay, they're two of the biggest villains in conservative circles, Fauci and Garland, for all the reasons we know. We don't have to go through the list. Everybody knows. Every member, being in the House of Representatives is like having a high pressure sales job where because they're every 2 years, every member of the House is up for re-election. So they're under constant fear of not being re-elected. So they have these hearings so they can bark at villains so that they can look good for the constituents. Both parties do this, and congressional hearings are a big waste of time.
Right. Now, one caller before me said, hey, why don't we have the AGs going after the Democrats? I mean, you know what? You're not going to win this battle unless you start fighting with
What does that mean? Do you mean hold on a minute? What does that mean? You mean charging innocent people with crimes they didn't commit, like they've done with Trump? I don't want to do that. I would rather Trump come in his second term with an incredible attorney general who prosecutes criminal Democrats for crimes they actually did commit. Like Fannie Lewis.
Why can't he be charged for the murder of Riley? I mean, there's multiple people.
You don't want to get in that. You do not want to start charging presidents with things. Look at what they're doing to Trump.
The Democrats.
No. Are you kidding? They're getting whooped. Look at Trump in the polls. There's a new poll out. All right, I appreciate the call. Well, I think the Democrats have done a lot of damage to themselves. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Richard Pompano.
Hey, Richard.
Okay, just help me out here. I'm not intellectual enough to get my thoughts out sometimes. I was watching Mark Levin, and he was getting so angry. He said, he's talking to Trump, basically. Fill out the damn appeals paperwork before July 11th. What are you waiting for? And he went on to say something that if July 11th comes and that judge says, you're going into jail for a year, bailiff, cuff him. And he hasn't filled out that paperwork, and he's in trouble. But Levin said there is something called a stay of jail, going to jail, once the paperwork's done. Have you heard that? It's called...
I've heard of these things, but, President Trump said something the other day that rubbed Mark Levin the wrong way, and I don't know if anybody else even noticed this, but I promise you Mark Levin did. On one of the, I watch Trump speak every time he speaks, so sometimes they blend together. He's done a lot of interviews lately. I don't remember if this was an interview he did over the last week or was it his Friday speech. But in one of his interviews or the speech he gave on Friday, he went through a list of well-known legal pundits that have said, where's the crime, and all this stuff. And he mentioned Turley, a couple others, and Mark Levin. And he said at the end of that, these people don't know me, and they're saying this. So Mark Levin takes that as, Trump's saying he doesn't know me. You know what I mean? So these people get offended and everything else, interacting out. This is what, I don't know why he hasn't filed the appeal stuff yet. It could be this. I'm not a lawyer like Mark Levin, but it could be this. President Trump has now raised over $300 million since the fake convictions last week. Over $300 million and growing. Okay. His polling is through the roof. There's a new poll among independents where Trump has skyrocketed with independents. I got a story I haven't gotten to yet, but one of the founders of the Black Panther Party has endorsed President Trump in the last 24 hours. Okay, that's a big deal, And he is doing very, very well at this current stage. He can go to the appeals court or the Supreme Court at any time. Why, let it play out a little bit more, be victimized a little bit more. If they and there's also a possibility. I apologize for that. I was talking to Steve about this yesterday. There's another possibility that Trump wants to be in a jail cell to illustrate to the American people how sick and twisted this government is, and that's a very strong possibility.
I thought of that too, but it scares me. I don't.
Listen. Trump knows you got to trust in Trump. He knows you got to trust in Trump. Corey Lewandowski had a book out about Trump after the first campaign. It was called "Let Trump Be Trump." You got Trump knows more about what's going on than we do or Mark Levin. And by the way, Mark Levin, who's a big fanboy of DeSantis. Okay, I used to be one of the biggest fans of Mark Levin. Mark Levin grew up with Bob Grant, Steve, and Bob Grant was one of the greats of New York radio. Steve used to work with Bob Grant. Steve took me out to dinner with Bob Grant. And I was a big fan of his. In the first campaign, he was a never-Trumper. And then when DeSantis was running, he did a 25-minute interview with DeSantis, sucking up to him like I couldn't. Mark Levin now lives in Florida. He's moved into a beach palace, okay? And a lot of these conservatives that have left the Northeast blue states to Florida, I call it Ponce de Leon syndrome. They all think they're Ponce de Leon. Ponce de Leon discovered Florida, okay, guys? He was looking for the fountain of youth, blah, blah, blah. And they think Florida is so great and free because Ron DeSantis. Florida's always been this way, okay? They just didn't live here. And they go engine a little bit, okay? They go engine a little bit. That's an old term, but you can't trust Mark Levin fully. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and I know Milvan would be pissed off. That's right, I said it, Milvan. You can't trust him fully. I'm sorry. That interview he did with DeSantis, never trust a never Trumper. And you've got to trust in Trump. Mark Levin could be pissed off that Trump's not consulting him for legal advice, you know? These guys got egos, okay? I don't get it. These guys got egos and they're easily bruised.
Yeah, I guess I was just waiting for a date for the appeals court.
You're going to keep waiting. Trump knows what he's doing. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Yes.
Oh, hi, it's me. All right, you never know who it is. This is Joan from Valrico, Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Joan?
We've been in a dictatorship since 2020.
Okay.
Because there's all talk
only that what you're saying is only true if Trump doesn't win in November. Because what I agree with you that there's a lot of Banana Republic stuff going on. The lawfare, what I was talking about earlier with the Epic Times and many other things. Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you. But it's like I was talking to a caller. Steve and I were talking to a lady yesterday, or I can't remember the day before, and said, you know, the system hasn't failed until the appeals court and the Supreme Court reject Trump's appeal, okay, and support this corrupt judge. Then you can say the system has failed. So far, everything's working as planned. And in dictatorships, they don't have elections.
You know, if you were a conservative and you thought there were shenanigans.
Yeah, but talking about, but listen, I tell people this all the time, and people get pissed at me, okay? Talking about that's not going to happen this time. In fact, Donald Trump put out a new video. Let me pull it up. It's a new campaign. I'm going to play part of this. This is a new campaign ad that Trump dropped yesterday, okay? Listen.
And we must use every appropriate tool available to beat the Democrats. Whether you vote early, absentee, by mail, or in person, we must swamp the radical Democrats with massive turnout.
Okay, so Donald Trump and the RNC, which is run by the Trump family, are organizing some, you know, the Democrats, they don't do rallies or speeches. Why do you think that is?
They have nothing to say.
No, that's not why. No. The Democrats,
abortion and
their people love that stuff. That's not why. The Democrats don't worry about rallies and speeches. Their entire campaigns are based around early voting. Early, you know, and we basically have voting month, right? You know, it's different in different states. The Democrats, they don't worry about speeches, appearances, or anything. Rallies, nothing. Their entire effort is behind early voting, mail-in and early voting. And for the first time, the Republicans are doing that under the Trumps. Early voting and mail-in voting. And it's very important to do that. I voted early in the primary. As soon as early voting opens in Florida, I'm going to go vote for President Trump, okay? And
because I'm in Florida, but the thing is, too,
yeah.
Posted anything in.
Well, that's not the case now. Okay, you got to get out of 2020. We're today, and well, hold on. You're worried about people not being able to post. I can't even finish a sentence here. Listen. No. You wait. Excuse me. You wait a minute. You wait a minute. Okay. Forget about COVID. Forget about all that stuff. Live today. Okay. President Trump and the RNC, led by Laura Trump, is organizing a massive nationwide early vote and mail-in vote, okay? And that's something Republicans have never done. And on Election Day, because we you know, I like to vote on Election Day because it's cool and fun and you're part of the process, it's exciting. But if you wait until Election Day to vote, the Democrats are millions and millions of votes ahead. of us on Election Day. To make up that much ground in one day is nearly impossible. That's why we haven't had the success that we could have had in many past elections. So forget about all that stuff from 2020. It's not in play now. And what Trump's talking about is swamping them with the early voting and the mail-in voting, and then on Election Day, so those other things won't be a factor.
Quiet, because I voted early.
Yeah.
I know.
But going around constantly talking about the last election, all that does is discourage turnout. People start saying, well, what's the point? And, I believe in the power of positive thinking, okay? Like Trump.
We have to go out early, and we have to vote.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
Meet this man. This man is like Obi-Wan Kenobi for us.
Yes. All right. Okay. Hopefully it turns out better for him. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our first break of the third hour and be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve.
Sorry, guys. I had that up really loud.
It's very exciting what Bedrock could enable.
Organizations of all sizes are already building with generative AI. When customers tell us they want to do more, and they are asking for the tools and capabilities to get there. Introducing Amazon Bedrock, the easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications.
You can look at their libraries and models and see which one has the best performance without knowing much about data science.
Amazon Bedrock helps businesses unlock the potential of generative AI. The coronavirus is clearly hoping that this important and folks, how important this issue is for voters.
It's tremendously important. What a difference from where we were 4 years ago at this point. So immigration is the nation's top problem. Back in May of
All right, callers on hold, stand by. 1-888-465-2631 is our number. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Ricky from North Carolina.
Hey, Richie.
It's Ricky.
Oh, Ricky. Okay, sorry, Ricky. Ricky from North Carolina.
Yes, sir. Two things. Number one, it's not really that important. I just want to let you know, I see you wear a lot of shirts, and there's a few shirts I really like, but that shirt you're wearing, I really like that one a lot.
Well, I appreciate it that you like my shirt. I'm wearing a nice Star Wars Hawaiian shirt. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much.
And the second thing, I was going to mention something earlier, but the lady you were mentioning her about about voting early and stuff. And I love Donald Trump. I agree with like 99%.
Yeah, but
Explained it just now, and it made a lot of sense to me. Like the whole voting early kind of thing. Or,
yeah.
Why would he say that? But now you actually explained it. Where now I was like, okay, I see why now.
Yeah.
Like why are we promoting this? But now I see why. So thanks, man. I did it, but now I do. So.
All right. Well, good. All right. Well, I'm giving you political advice and fashion advice, so that's great. All in one call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Michelle, Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie. What's up?
Okay. Earlier today, when I was on my way to work, I heard them talking about being prejudiced, thinking that you're racist. And I just had to talk to my son last night. We're African Americans, and we're on the fence right now about voting. I'm actually thinking about, like I said, Trump instead of Biden because I don't like what Biden's doing. I'm also conservative, and the main problem is my son thinks that most of the Trump supporters are racist. He even worked with a gentleman who was a serious MAGA-Trump supporter. And a lot of people assume that the Trump supporters, the Republicans, are racist because of the MAGA supporters. But I disagreed with him, telling him that doesn't mean that every one of them are racist.
Well, your son, how old's your son?
He's 33.
Okay, 33. See, what your son's doing is he is racially stereotyping people, and as a black man in America, I would imagine he thinks he's opposed to racial profiling and racial stereotyping. But is your son a criminal?
No.
Okay, but most of the people that are in prison for violent crimes are not white in this country, right? There's an overwhelming number of African American men locked up in prison for all kinds of violent crimes, right?
Right.
So should we look at those people and say black men are all criminals or not?
Right. That's what I told him. This one guy that he had his own shop that he worked for said that there going to be a civil war and he had guns and everything. So I think it's trauma.
Well, you're in Port St. Lucie. And you know, Port St. Lucie, I've lived in Florida a long time. And Port St. Lucie, how long have you lived there?
Actually 3 years now.
Okay. Oh, you're new. Okay. You know, my wife and I were going to move to Port St. Lucie. We were going to move to that Tradition area up there. And St. Lucie County has the highest property taxes in the state of Florida, and Tradition had two HOA fees, which was like crazy. So we didn't move there. But anyway, when I went up there to look at that house at Tradition was the first time I had been to Port St. Lucie since like 1983. And Port St. Lucie used to be Klan country. Okay, when I was a kid, I used to come to Florida before I lived here on vacation. My dad and my grandparents lived in Okeechobee. My dad still lives in Okeechobee, and Port St. Lucie is right down the street, basically. And that now you go to Port St. Lucie, it's like Miami almost, but small. You got Starbucks, you got all that stuff. So the guy that your son works for. He's probably been in Port St. Lucie for more than 3 years like you. He's probably multi-generation St. Lucie County or that area, which means that he is the child or the grandchild of racist, Democrat, Southern segregationist. When I first moved to Florida, the first school I went to used to be the black high school. They all called it the colored high school. So you're living in an area that used to be the center of Democrat Ku Klux Klan activity. So, yeah, you just don't know it because it's so hip these days.
Yeah, I told him that he doesn't understand because we were debating it, and I debated to tell him originally blacks were Republicans.
That's correct.
The Democrats have gotten so crazy now that I'm getting disgusted with the views and everything. So I told him
when I was a kid in Port St. Lucie, when I was a kid, you know what black people did at night in Port St. Lucie when I was a kid?
No.
They didn't go outside. Well, you weren't allowed. You could, if you want to get rolled. You weren't allowed. And I know we have people in Port St. Lucie that are going to call and say it ain't that way. I was there in the 70s and the early 80s, and it was that way, okay? There was no Publix. There was no Starbucks. There was no Chipotle. Okay? It was cows and the Klan and racist, and they were all old Democrats. And so the old timers and that have been there or were born there, that have a long family line, they're old, hardcore racist families. And your son is not being exposed to what the real world's like.
Republicans, like I said.
Correct.
Fans that are Republicans that are white and are not racist, and that's what I was trying to explain to him. But I believe from his experience, I mean, this is mega supporters who are talking about serious things that they're going to do. I'm taping you right now so that I can let you.
Yeah, tell him. And I'll tell you this, okay? I people have heard me say this many times that have listened for a long time, but since you're new, and hopefully your son will hear this. Every black man that was lynched in America was a Republican, and every white man that lynched a black man was a Democrat. That is a 100% fact, okay? And that's the way of it. And believe me, there were plenty of lynchings in Port St. Lucie back in those days. I promise you. And you're just, there's nothing wrong with your son thinking that way. What else is he to think? That's what you're fed in school, and that's what you're fed on television.
Right. A lot of black men think that, and the Republicans understand. A lot of black people are actually Republicans. They just don't realize that if we're talking about the conservative views and what's going on. Like it seems like the Democrats have gotten out of control with a lot of things that I don't like. And now I'm on the fence where either not even vote for anyone or, like I said, Republican. Also, I wanted to address the Epic Times because I do read them as well. And I didn't really realize they were like Republicans at first because I just liked the news. I liked it really good. And I do agree with you when you said that. They really report good news. And it's kind of crazy and scary at the same time of what's going on with them as well.
Well, your son, I'm going to tell you, I hope they're listening over at Mar-a-Lago today. You and your son need to go together to a Trump rally. And, you really should. I mean, a real Trump rally, even if I don't know how many rallies we're going to have in Florida because we're so MAGA. I don't know, but you got to go. And I'll tell you why, okay? I've been going to Republican events for many, many years. It used to be all white people, okay? Every once in a while, there'd be a black guy there, and he would be like the guest speaker, a black conservative, ooh. You go to a Trump rally, I'm the minority as a white guy, okay? It's so diverse. I've seen any Trump event I go to, I've seen more black people at a single Trump event than all the Republican events that I've gone to combined in my previous. Yes, you've got a huge number of blacks, huge number of Hispanics, huge number of Asians, every ethnicity. There's a new poll out today. They were talking about on CNN that among foreign-born U.S. citizens, foreign-born citizens, people that have become citizens, Trump is double-digit lead among foreign-born Americans. Trump double-digit lead over Biden. So your son is not out in a diverse community. You got to get him to a Trump rally. He will see it for himself.
So I'm going to try to go to. I just want to see, and I'm going to talk to him about it. I'm going to let him hear what you said about that, which I told him. About the Democrats and the KKK back in the day. And
don't let him tell you that crap about the big switch where all the Republicans became Democrats and the Democrats became Republicans. That's all lies.
Racist.
What's that?
And what you were saying earlier.
What?
Callers, it's you're racist.
Well, because no. These are black liberal callers, okay? Black liberals use the race card as a weapon to try to shut down white people from talking to them and opposing them. So they call white people racist all the time. Of course, I mean, I have a black daughter. I have one child, she's black. You know what I mean? What kind of racist is that? So, I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid, but that's just what black liberals call everybody racist. You ever watch Seinfeld? You know Seinfeld? Yeah. Okay. You ever seen the one? What's his uncle's name? His uncle that thinks everybody's anti-Semitic. He's okay. I can't remember the. Yeah, it's a running bit. Everybody and everything is anti-Semitic. His Jerry's uncle. Liberal blacks do that in real life. It's not a sitcom. They go around calling it. It's a way to try to control people. And
because I'm
Uncle Leo, by the way, in Seinfeld is the name.
It's told my son that racist is a strong word, and he doesn't you have to understand what that really is. And if someone disagrees with you, it doesn't mean that they're racist, because I'm Black American and I know the meaning of it.
Where are you from originally?
Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, that's my hometown, Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, I'm from Columbus, Ohio too. That's my hometown. Well, okay. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. You're from Columbus, Ohio. Your son's 33, so you're probably a little older than me, but we're close to the same age. And we may have even gone to the same schools. In Columbus, Ohio, you don't have any of this crap like you growing up like you have in other parts of the country. It's because that's a northern state. Ohio, we were part of the Union, not the Democrat Confederacy. So it's a whole nother mindset. I didn't see any of this stuff till I moved to Florida, and but it's just a different thing. All right. Well, it's good to hear from you. Good luck with your son. All right. Take care. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Oh no, Columbus, Ohio is a big city. Big city. Yeah, Uncle Louie, right? Is that the name? I'm pretty sure. Uncle Leo, that's the name. Uncle Leo. Jack Hanna. Didn't Jack Hanna die? I know he had dementia. It was a great call.
In Stewart on Monroe Street and Federal Highway, and Will Floor, the letter U, FLA.com. Will Floor, your hometown floor store that has it all.
Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about my anti-aging doctor, Dr. Mitch Matez at the Biostation West El Rey, and hormone replacement pellet therapy. Hormone replacement pellet therapy is all natural. What it does is restore your hormones to where they were when you were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, you'll have more energy, you'll get your sex drive back, and women, hormone replacement pellet therapy completely stops and reverses all the signs and symptoms of menopause. Mood swings, gone. Night sweats, gone. I've met listeners before and after hormone replacement pellet therapy with Dr. Matez, and when I first meet them, they're like Joe Biden, and no one wants to be like him. And then I meet them again after they began hormone replacement pellet therapy, and they have their energy back, just like Trump. They're standing up tall, and they feel years younger. Now, it's always a free consultation with Dr. Matez when you tell him you heard about him on the radio. 561-320-8893. 561.
By the way, yesterday some people said I should shave. I shaved, not because the people said something. I got a razor. I had lost the charger for my razor, so I shaved this morning.
And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to jupiterjoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com.
Brian Craig here with a question for seniors and those who care about them. How would you like to have instant access to a healthcare advocate at the touch of a button?
Yeah, I'm sure I did. It was early this morning. I'll have to shave again when I get home. I was in a hurry.
Prescriptions. They'll help you find a doctor, including a specialist. If you've been billed improperly by a doctor's office or a hospital, they can help you with that too. They'll even be your advocate when you're in the hospital to make sure you get the care you need and the care you deserve. And that's just the beginning of what they do. I Will Advocates takes care of all Steve Kane's healthcare issues too, and they can do the same for you. I Will Advocate clients are family, and they go to bat for their family when you need them the most. Call Debbie at I Will Advocates right now. Toll free, 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All righty, calls on hold standby, 1-888-465-2671. I'm sure we're gonna get some complaints from Port St. Lucie people. I'm not talking about Port St. Lucie of today, okay, which is for hipsters and stuff, okay? I'm talking about the old Port St. Lucie, like 40 years ago. You know, I knew a guy when I was a kid. This is insane. It's like, this is crazy. I knew a guy in Port St. Lucie when I was a kid that made moonshine at his house, okay? I mean, he had like a still. I mean, things have changed in Port St. Lucie. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Carol from Boca Raton.
Hey, Carol.
I'd like to say to the woman who just called that Club 47 on June 14th has Trump for $25 at the Palm Beach convention.
You are correct. I forgot about that. You are correct.
She can bring her son.
Yes, that's a great idea. Club 47, yes, that's correct. Look it up. They meet every month, but they got a big thing with Trump coming up at the convention center. Yes. Yeah.
It's going to be so exciting. She's got to bring her son.
Yeah, you know, it's real. I appreciate the call. It's, you know, that I'm glad the lady called, and you know, she's in pain. You know, but that, you know, the Democrats have been very successful in brainwashing black people that Republicans are something that we're not. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
George, Orlando.
Hey, George.
Here's the thing. Something you spoke about a lot earlier. A racist, a white supremacist, and a racist would be the same, correct?
I don't know. No, not necessarily. Because you can be racist and be black. You can be racist and be Hispanic. You can be racist and be Asian.
Black Lives Matter, mostly race. Well, I've heard they're con artists. They're out of the.
But Black Lives Matter is two things. It's a Democrat get out the vote organization, and it's also a real estate scam, apparently.
Right. They're not as honorable as the NAACP. No comparison there. As far as I know, but I've stepped up pretty bit. But anyway, this is something you could bring up. Anybody calls you racist? So you had a guy that was calling in some time ago, and he agreed he was agreeing with everything you said. And one day he said he was with the Klan.
Correct.
No argument there. The Klan, they're no good. They're racist, as far as I'm concerned, mostly racist. So you bring that up, anybody.
I don't have to defend myself to these people. I'm not defending myself. What I was talking about was we have some very weak callers. What's happened here is they've got their convictions on Trump. They got their mugshot. Trump's more popular than ever. So what's happened to some of our liberal callers, we're talking about Jay from Jersey, Renee from Harlem, Taliban Pat who's back, they've devolved. They're having meltdowns. They don't understand it. They can't defend their positions. We're winning. So they've devolved into just calling anybody who disagrees with them a racist. That's all. By the way, I thank you for the call. I appreciate the call. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking?
The metals looking stronger than yesterday, but the pattern has been the same. Pretty much we get down to about $2,325 on gold, and then we rally back up, and we've been... Monday we were up $25 on gold. Tuesday we were down $24.20. Yesterday we closed out the day at $2,326.30, trading in a range of $23.15 on the low and $23.53 on the high. Silver was the big loser yesterday, actually down $1.24 at $29.44. Platinum lost $26 at $989, and palladium was dropped down $12 at $898. Similar numbers again. Only today we're back up $12.10 on gold at $23.38, trading in a range overnight of $23.26 to $23.43. Silver up 16 cents at $29.60 the ounce. Platinum down $5 at $9.84, and palladium up $8 at $906. So we are locked in this trading range, it seems, for quite a while now. But gold really behaving very well, finding good support above this $2,300 number. When you realize the vast move that we've made on gold, up hundreds of dollars this year, setting all-time records for the price of gold this year, and we're only off $100 from the very highs that we hit. So
yeah,
we've traded in that range for quite a while now. So once it breaks out, it usually breaks out with a vengeance, and we'll see where the next breakout takes us. But in the meantime, you have to accumulate it, some of these pullbacks.
Yeah, and the with gold right now, which is amazing. I mean, $100. I mean, that's like the same to me at these numbers. But with out of control inflation, everything's so much more money. Gold's a great way to preserve the value of that really losing value everyday paper money, isn't it? A lot of people buy gold just to maintain the value of their money.
Absolutely. Gold is the only thing that has retained its value in 5,000 years of history. Currencies have come and gone, but gold remains strong. It is the only safe refuge you can have for political, economic situations like we're in, certainly in these days.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. His address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give him a call, toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow. All right, we'll be right back.
The social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the...
All right, now, in the first hour, I was talking about the low quality of some of the callers some of these liberal callers. And if you noticed after that discussion, the calls on today's show have been incredibly elevated in quality. This is what I like. I mean, this was, and that nice lady from Port St. Lucie, that was really an amazing and kind of a very historic call. It's one of those calls I think we'll remember years from now, right? Because that's an amazing call. Do you hear what we got? We got a woman who's black. She's got a son who's in his 30s. He's black too, of course, because she is. And she was really calling in for help. She's trying to do like an intervention, a rehab into her son because he's a liberal Democrat who thinks MAGA people are racist. That's an amazing call. It's kind of like Dr. Laura, but when in the realm of politics, and that's a pretty amazing call. And it's so sad how successful the left have been at brainwashing people. I've been banned from some of the biggest liberal talk shows in the country, because I bring some things up. But there are a lot of people out there who have family members that are liberals, and it's troubling to a lot of people. And sometimes people may say, well, why do they care so much? Why do they care? If you are a liberal, if you're a liberal Democrat and you support what the liberal Democrats support, that is a problem. I mean, you're a person of low moral character, the things you're supporting. Just for example, the two big issues, there's more than two big issues for this election, but two of the biggest are the border and what's going on with Israel. Okay? A couple years ago, we went through this Me Too movement with Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein had that casting couch, and it's how Hollywood's always been, and he's in prison now. And there was this whole thing about women should be believed even if they have no evidence, and it's years later. And a lot of controversial discussion with that. We have actual video of the victimization of women. That girl that was kidnapped on the motorcycle, they've shown her recently. Can you imagine what that girl's going through? They still got her. They raped and murdered women. Right? There was one guy, that was captured, and he was talking 2 weeks ago. He and his father were part of the invasion of Israel from Gaza. They were taking turns raping women and then killing them. Can you imagine a father and son team? And right now, they have these women that they've been holding since October. I mean, it won't be long; it'll be a year. Who are being held prisoner, and they're like that guy in Cleveland that had the girls chained in the garage. And you have the left supporting that? It's sick. This thing with the border. Everything. President Trump, he was talking over the weekend. He mentioned this again yesterday, too, in one of his videos. Crime in Venezuela is down about 70% since Biden came into office. And everybody knows why. Crime in Venezuela is down 70%. It's because they're sending all their criminals here. During the Mario boat lift, it was very controversial in Miami. The Mario boat lift. Now, not everybody that came from Cuba was like this, but Castro was emptying out his prisons and his mental hospitals. In Venezuela, they're emptying out their mental hospitals and prisons, and they're also rounding criminals up and putting them in caravans and sending them to America. You support the Democrats, you're supporting that. Those cops that were shot in New York, illegal from Venezuela, how many others have been victimized, murdered, raped, or just victimized in some other way by the illegal criminals? They're coming here hardcore, the most violent felons that Venezuela has to offer, because they're being sent here. It's good for Venezuela, but it's not good for us. If you support the Democrats, you're supporting that. And this isn't just rhetoric. This is true. We're seeing it. It's in the news every day. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. How are you? Yeah, but it really is hard to understand how the Democrats, the rank and file ones, can support these positions from the party from the top down. I mean, it's just what we're dealing with in the streets now, and this lady Lincoln Riley, who was murdered in that. I mean, what are they looking at? What are they looking at? It's just insanity, The members want to call us in support of Marjorie Taylor Greene. If I could have half a dozen more of her in our House of Representatives, I mean, I think she's sensational.
I mean, if she was the speaker, if we had a leader in the House like her, if she was the speaker, things would change too. You know, a Speaker of the House is supposed to be like Toby Keith's Angry American. You stick a boot up their blank and get things done. And we just don't have that. We have this weaselly little guy that wears makeup and doesn't have a hair on his head out of place, who goes along with whatever the Democrats want.
It looks like a guy from a prep school or something like that, but Marjorie Taylor Greene is a warrior, and I don't know how you can you teach that to somebody?
No. It's a personality trait.
You either got it or you don't, and she's got it, but...
Well, she's got a couple things here, okay? One, she's not Trump rich, but she's wealthy from her family. They own a construction company. And she's not consumed with... I don't know how rich she is, but she doesn't have to worry. But she's not consumed with becoming a billionaire or worth $500 million. You know what I mean? So she's content with the amount of wealth she has. So she's there on principle. These other ones are like Biden. They go to Congress to get rich. That's it. They go to Congress to get rich.
They do. It's really a shame, and it's just. But she's.
What kind of ringer is that on your phone? What kind of ringer is that?
It's my wife's ringer.
You sure about that? Is that what's that? What's that song? Is that from the Barbie movie? All right, take care. Thanks for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen.
Hey, what you just said, you know, these Democrats that support Biden and this administration, they obviously agree with Israel, and they support the open borders. They support the
even if you listen. Even if you don't support Israel, I would imagine you support women not being raped and murdered and held as sex slaves in Gaza dungeons. All right. I mean, what are they advocating for?
Exactly. That's why I never spoke to my girlfriend. It's been since 2016 because she supported and supports these.
Well, the problem is the millennial generation. I've been brainwashed to be anti-Semite. That's why Candace Owens anti-Semitic. She's too brainwashed to know it. You know, that's why Ben Shapiro fired her. He didn't want to have this anti-Semite working for him, and I don't blame him.
Oh, really? Yes. Yep. It's just so disgusting. I mean, I can't even talk to these people. I refuse. I just refuse it.
And we saw the video of the attacks on the women. We've seen it.
You say we've seen it, but I really think that they should play that video. And I think even at Trump rallies, I don't know about Trump rallies, but I think it should be put out there so people can actually see.
I mean, the women that came back from Gaza pregnant, and all this with the Muslim babies, and all this stuff. I mean, all right, Joel, and I thank you for the call. I gotta go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Katina from Baltimore.
Hey, Katina.
I have an answer for anyone that's called a racist. In fact, by Dem. The Dems calling all Republicans a MAGA racist, just answer them with, that's a conspiracy theory. You're supporting a conspiracy theory. And that's exactly what it is. They won't be able to defend their position.
Nah, you're thinking too logically with these people. You can't. There's no logic to liberalism. Liberalism is not a political philosophy. It's an emotion.
It is. But so are conspiracy theories.
No, that wouldn't work.
Try to get them to think. There's some people that.
Well, when I talk to these liberal jerks and they call me a racist or they call Trump a racist, what's my react? What do I say to them every time? Give me an example of something that Donald Trump has done that's racist.
Well, that's what I mean. They can't defend that position.
And then they're speechless. And I'll say the same thing about. Give me an example of something I've said or done that's racist, and they're speechless. Okay, that's how you do it. There's other ways too.
You expose their brainwashing. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those things you can just say and walk away. And
Yeah, but they still think these stupid things. You gotta, you know.
and that's what I do. And
Listen, there are racists out there, and of every color and political philosophy. Joy Reid on MSNBC is a racist. Sonny Hostin on The View is one of the most out of the closet racists. They had Michael Richards on. Here we are 10 or 15 years later since he had that stand-up thing happen. Michael Richards had to go and beg for forgiveness from Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg yesterday. I was disgusted by it. I mean, he's one of the greatest talents in television history, Michael Richards, and he has to go and get approval from Sonny Hostin and Whoopi to live his life because he said one thing to some heckler in the audience 15 years ago. You know? Exactly. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian?
Yes?
This is Bea from New York State.
Hey, what's up?
The only thing you can do, in my opinion, is bring awareness to all these people with your history facts. You are a history teacher, and you have it.
Yes.
A lot of time down in Meadows Island, outside of Port St. Lucie, and I never heard any of this.
Oh, yeah.
Kids need to know this history. You need to bring history awareness to these people on a daily basis. You need to put a history teaching into your program.
Yes.
And every day.
Okay.
Bring awareness.
Okay.
Maybe a while.
All right.
Will come around.
I don't know if I'm making too many friends in Port St. Lucie today, but I'm talking about Port St. Lucie from 40 years ago, not Port St. Lucie of today, okay? All right, take care. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Great calls today. Thanks so much for everyone who called in today. I mean, incredible quality on the phones today. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
WSFS 104.
All right, guys. If you're new, subscribe. Those of you that are subbed, like the video, okay? Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.